Angel, can I get a roll call, please?
Sure. Greg Filak.
Here.
Tom Tuzen.
Here.
Jack McLaughlin.
Here.
We have new supervisor Shell Hart, who's been sworn in.
Here.
And David Hume on Zoom.
Easy.
Yours okay, Dave?
Yep, I'm clear.
All right, we all rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
I get a motion on the meeting agenda.
Move to adopt the agenda.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, administrative matters, oath of office for newly
We
elected.
have public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry,
first.
public comments. I need to zoom in a little bit better there. Public comment period. If there's anybody in the room for public comments,
Do we have a microphone for the?
hold on for 1 second. If we can give a microphone, if you could just state your name and address and 3 minutes, please.
I do have the copies here with the last one. Well, my name is Laura O'Heim, owner and resident at 789 Old Shadows Road. I pretty much think that most of you are in the knowledge of what I am going to talk about. Maybe not everybody is here, not many of the residents, but a few years ago, I called into my house because of that tree in the back. The back of my house goes to the conservation. And at the time, years ago, it was told to me that this was Disney property. Well, I couldn't do anything. I also pointed out to a live tree with branches that were at the time starting to go over my house. Now, let's fast forward to a few days, about a week or so before Hurricane Milton. I called him actually several times and I sent emails about that issue to all of you. And then I was at that time in the knowledge that this adjoining property does not belong to Disney, but to CDD. And after doing some research, I actually was surprised to find out that there is a lot of CDD land around in Celebration. And one thing that I want to thank you all to be here sitting and doing work for us all Celebration owners and residents. But anyway, so I was told that there was nothing to do about that live tree that had branches now not going just over the property, but they are over my balcony, over my roof. But there are also 2 dead trees. One of them was removed, and I think Russ here present had people going there to knock down that dead tree, which is remaining there on the ground. They don't care about that. It's good. It's gonna be organic material. But the other dead tree was not going to be removed because I was told that the company that I found out later is called Briggs, was in North Carolina. And so could not come to knock down that other tree because that other tree is not straight, has curves and could fall in other places. Well, time has passed and I found that there is another dead tree there. And it's threatening not only my property, but also my neighbor here present property. And upon some research in the Handbook of Florida Property and Law, I found out that dead trees are, they can be taken care by the owner, which is now myself, but I can also live alone. Now, in the case that the dead tree falls and damages the adjoining property, then the damage becomes a liability and the responsibility of the owner of that adjacent property owner. which in the case is CDD. So it's something that is supposed to be warned by myself in the case to the owner of the adjacent property, which is CDD, that there is that case. So CDD can take care of removing those trees before something happens.
Okay, if I could ask you just to wrap it up, just so we can keep it at 3 minutes, but I
Yes.
understand staff have been out there as well, so if you want to weigh in.
Several
Did you have
times.
anything else, ma'am, or was that just about the trees and asking for them to be removed?
Yes, yes. So there are those two dead trees there. And if the CDD decides to remove those dead trees, I would suggest that it would be a courtesy for myself if they could remove the branches of that live tree, since it cannot be removed because it's not a tree that has girdling and is not also a bald cypress tree, because I think we all know that the bald cypress trees are native to Florida, and they can only be removed with permit.
Okay.
And we had that case happening here in Celebration some time ago, when those bald cypress trees were removed in Oak Shadow and the area of another area near
Okay.
Celebration, where they were replaced by magnolia trees.
Okay, thank you,
So
ma'am.
I'm not asking
Yep.
to remove the tree, it would just be a courtesy, because if
Sure,
they have to
understand.
have those equipments there, those tall branches
Yes,
could
ma'am.
be cut. And is,
So Angel, so you'd had staff go out, can you maybe fill us in with?
Carrie, Russ, and actually a board member also went out. They've been out a couple of different times. Also, I believe took United out as well. So you can go ahead, and I think the end game is there's no trees that need to come down.
There's no trees that need to come down. The one that she's referring to is growing onto her property, is making minimal contact with her house. That we looked at that, she can prune what is
Right.
on her property.
And that's what she has to do.
yeah.
So,
Well, the tree that you are referring to is a live tree. Those branches are very high.
Mhm.
And they are over the balcony, and they started crawling over
And we,
the roof too.
yes, ma'am.
So I am aware that I can take
Okay.
care of hiring someone to remove, but it would be a special equipment.
Yes.
But also, the CDD, if decides to remove the dead tree that is very dead there.
We understand, ma'am, if I can let my
We
attorney
have-
speak as
yeah.
well to it.
Yeah, the branches that go over, you can remove, that is on.
Yes,
going over
I
the
know,
property,
I
you can
know.
remove that.
I just,
Can-
Yes.
I just suggest.
so Tom, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
So there is a line item under business matters for preliminary tree discussion.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came out of this, and a couple other areas, we need to, evaluate the whole tree policy, because we have multiple areas.
We talked about this 2 meetings ago. where it was-
Correct, so we want to have a quick discussion, we'll probably have a workshops, because we really have to have a definite policy.
Yep.
To make sure all that is covered. So that really is the intent of that.
Until that's made and
Right,
whatever decisions we make out of that, until then, we discussed 2 meetings ago that homeowners are free to go ahead and cut back if there's anything
Yes,
that's
they
intruding on
can-
their
if
property.
it's going over their property, they can
Right.
cut back
Yes.
legally, yes.
yeah, the only,
And
the
if
only,
it's in a conservation area and it's not dead, then we cannot cut it.
Yeah.
We're not
Okay.
right into it.
Yes.
the only, the other, the only question is if it is dead material.
Mhm.
And that's, and I don't have the answer for that, right? I don't know if it's something that's dead, and is threatening somebody's property, what do we do with that?
Well-
That's kind of more of a, excuse me, that's kind of more of a.
In a
legal
conservation
issue that I
area.
ask you, in
It's-
terms of how does that work?
Yeah, it's in a conservation area, we should ask permission, but generally, if it's dead and at risk to anyone, it can be removed. But we should check with water.
And we would
management
drop
just
it.
to get the okay,
In that area,
yes.
we would drop it back in the conservation area.
So water management has to be engaged.
It makes the most sense to do that, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so ma'am, we'll bring this up later. It is a discussion topic more generally. We
Yes.
will have,
That's right.
potentially, we will have a workshop on this in the future, but in the meantime, if you feel that it's an immediate threat to your property, you can go ahead and trim any of those back from your property.
Well,
Yeah.
like I said, I saw here and I printed and I
Yes, we have
gave
it.
to you, right?
Yes.
We have it.
It's better.
Yep.
So
Thank
there you can see, I even highlighted parts where it describes, explains well that the dead trees that belong to another one that threatens, like in this case, the CDD owns that.
And
And
we'll
if those
address,
trees
we'll
fall
address this
down,
when we have the
then
discussion
CDD
point in our
will
workshop.
Be the liable,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
I am aware of that. Now, the branches, I am aware
Yeah.
that I can call Briggs or anyone to have cut those branches, that I cannot remove that tree because it's a live tree, has no girdling, has no other issues. It's all explained here. I read all that
Perfect.
in very carefully.
Does anybody else have
So,
any comments? Sorry.
I just ask it if you decide, you members decide to have those dead trees removed because you're gonna have to have equipment. And that dead tree is very close to the live tree with those branches, they could knock and.
Man, we
be a
understand.
courtesy
If we can
for
move
me.
on to the next question.
Since
Thank you.
that courtesy was done in the past to residents that complained about.
Man, we,
About
Ma'am, we
trees that
understand.
were
Thank you.
removed
We're not
without
setting
permit.
anything.
thank you. We understand. Anybody else have any public
Yes,
comments?
just very quickly, thank you for giving my neighbor Laura a lot more than 3 minutes. This is very, very brief. I'm Chris Guy, 787 Oak Chavez Road, live right next door to Laura. I went through the branches overhang thing and just hired a contractor to take care of that myself, so understand that policy. I would ask, it sounds like they've been out there already. Laura just briefed me a couple of days ago, so I'm here to support her as well. But, and I only have interest in one tree and it's an oak that towers over the thousands. It's clearly rotten in parts of it. Very large branches are rotten. I'm not an arborist. I can't speak for the trunk or anything. But if and when it comes down and it's already leaning towards both houses, it's gonna take out part of both houses. So I just ask you to take another look at that.
Excellent.
It
Thank
really
you.
should come out.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments in the room? Sir, come on up. You can just state your name and address as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Property here, it's 807 Lake Avalon Drive. All right, the neighbor next to me, 805 Lake Avalon, and 807, and there's 809. There's, in the back of our property, you can only come in, and that's it. Okay, I've lived there now 4 years, and I've asked to bring dirt and try to take care of it. The neighbor and I spent the money to put a new pad in. I paid half of it, she paid half of it, because the pad was all. Because the branch is coming in and raised it all up and it was a mess, so we fixed it. Please come and fix it, you know, it's all dirt. Grass won't grow. Do something.
What are you talking, what are we
That's
talking
Eight oh
about?
five, it's 805, 807, 809, Lake Avalon Drive.
But what area are you?
Conservation area.
I've asked Tom, when you know, I go look at that again, it's just one of them that doesn't really get any sun. It's by,
When
Are
we
we
say,
talking about the street side,
the alley side.
the alley side?
so when you say a pad of grass,
I don't know.
I'm saying, what did you say you
Yeah, what-
repaired already?
Yeah, I just.
I went and bought sod several
Some
times.
sod, okay.
And it's died, okay?
We replaced it too.
Right, and I put my sprinkler system in, so it'll sprinkle back there.
So is something besides grass that we can put there?
And straw, pine straw or something.
I'm waiting on Tom to,
Okay, so
Yeah.
we can follow up and find
It's,
out.
we need some dirt too, okay, because the dirt back there is just a mess, it's all sand. My neighbor, who's now put his house on the market, used to play golf back there and with, you know, the grass was, all that. He's, the house is for sale now, so he's no longer there, okay, so. Both ends of it ends up being a mess.
So those are, I mean, yes, we'll have staff take a look at it because they're naturally occurring areas. We don't typically go out and sod, I mean, even the wood lines around there.
I don't care, just fix it, so it's not a dirt path, I mean, I mow the lawn, I take care of it, I take care of the, you know, guys, your guy doesn't have to come back, I take care of that myself.
Okay.
I mow it, take care of the leaves, I keep it up
I'll have to
nice,
visualize, have you guys been out there to
it's a
look at?
mess, yeah, he's been out there.
Okay. Behind 805, I'm not,
Well, 805, 807, 809, those are the three houses.
all right, thank you. Let's see, any other public comments in the room?
Yes.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nathaniel Cromwell. I actually live directly across 806 Lake Evelyn Drive, Celebration, Florida. I also serve on the Live Events Committee for what it's worth. My question is one of safety. I have actually addressed this with the county and they deferred me to CDD to deal with this. It deals specifically with the entrance egress of traffic at the beginning of Celebration and Lake Evelyn Drive. Our issue there is in phase one of the development, we just had the smaller roads put in. And the issue is when people, especially during holidays, park on both sides here, it blocks emergency vehicles from getting in. I have a heart issue. There's other people who have issues within
This is
the
a county
community
road.
there. And in doing so, emergency vehicles can't get in. What I'm asking and requesting is that no parking, yellow paint be put on the two sides there, so that people who legally can't park there know so, because it comes to the diligence of us to walk up and say, hey, you can't park here. The other issue is we know there is turning right is a blind entrance because of that brick that we have there.
Right.
We've done a thing of putting up a sign that says for pedestrians to stop. We've also put a mirror. Unfortunately, that mirror does get knocked down with wind. So I'm requesting that when we do so, and people park there, you have to go into the middle, and then people who are turning that blindly can either hit it, and like I said, emergency vehicles can't park.
So I'll say, and I can understand why the county pointed, so it's a little bit of, I don't want to say gray area, but it's kind of split. The roads belong to the county, that's unquestioned, that's theirs. Where they come to us is when they have looked to put signage along parking areas, so no parking and street side parking. They will come to us, even though ultimately it's their authority, they'll come to us for concurrence. We don't have traffic engineering. So it's really not up to us. What we'll do is we'll typically go back to them and say, if you, the county, believe it's appropriate to do, whether it's no parking or signage or whatever, then whether or not we would support it as a board to do that. But at the end of the day, the decision to make, to do that signage, and I realize it's confusing for you. I don't want you getting kicked back and forth. So what we can do is we can reach out to the county and let them know that you had brought this up and are requesting, as I'm understanding it, you're talking about doing yellow curbs basically from Celebration Avenue back to Wisteria.
Just the 20 feet that legally you can't.
The
park.
20 foot off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are those actually curbs there or are they?
We
They
would
are-
ask
they're
Crow to
true-based
do them.
curbs.
We would not approve doing the painting. Crow.
No, the county would do.
And if
it.
you're
Yeah,
not,
county would do it.
Sorry, not Crow.
and I'm sorry to interrupt, if I may just read to you very quickly what the response from them was to me directly about this when I specifically asked. It was from Jack Lott, Osceola County Traffic Operations. Good afternoon, Nathaniel. Per our conversation today, I am including the restriction of parking documentation and limits the maintenance with the Celebration District in Osceola County. In the attached document on page 5, reference section 6, parking controls, provides a layout of the responsible party for establishing and maintaining parking controls within Celebration. Osceola County is responsible for the asphalt roadway inside curb to inside curb shoulders, and any markings such as residents only, fire lane, no parking are under the guidance and maintenance of CCDD. Any request to have no parking zones established or renewed would need to go through the CCDD. I have left some documentation to help with clarity, as it is not related to the parking issue you were experiencing. And then they highlighted the
Yeah.
information.
So, it kind of is. So the authority document within the PUD gives us the authority, if we decided to fully take over street side parking, we got this a year or two ago, that we could do that. We haven't done that. What we did was kind of a half answer was the county treats us as an advisory. Hey, they'll come to us and ask us, and this came up on, what was it, about 5 years ago? Where they were trying to do an entire street with no parking for fire access. And that's where we said, hey, we don't want to get into the traffic engineering, but we do want to be consulted as to whether or not you should do that. So I think what just happened here is kind of the half in, half out answer.
Sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
again. Their response to that, because my wife has tried this before a couple of
Right.
years ago, and we got kicked back and forth. He said specifically it was page 10, section 6. And again, I'll defer to you.
Yeah.
But page 10, section 6 says, the owner of CDD shall have the right to control and regulate the availability of road shoulders and road parking lanes
Yep.
for parking purposes. So that is their kind of defense.
That's within the PUD
And
piece.
that's, and that's what it says, is we have the right to, but have never taken that on, so instead,
Yeah.
we'll get with the county.
And I was gonna say-
Tell them that we did request that they.
In this extenuating circumstance because of safety, for either you to take it on or to then carry water for us citizens trying to get it.
Can you provide that documentation to Jan? So we know?
Absolutely. If anyone gets me an email, I'll forward the exact response that I gave to them.
Okay. And I think-
Counties too.
Well, and I think traditionally, if the board's okay with it, I mean, traditionally what we've done is kick it back to the county and said, if you make the determination that you think this is appropriate, we'll support it. Just let us know what your determination is.
Okay,
That's what we've done in the past.
sounds good.
And to just finish, I would say if you would please add to that, to the county, that there are citizens in Celebration feel this is a safety issue and a traffic enforcement issue. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
Hey, question, Mike, a question for me, please. Is
Yeah,
the
go.
request for signage, paint and mirrors? What is the ask?
No, sir, we're simply just asking, and others in my community are simply asking to paint the curbs so that it's notified no parking, because as of now, the only way you would know it's no parking is to know the law. So if I go up and tell a tree trimmer or a gardener, you can't park your large truck there, they're gonna look at me and go, what do you mean? There's no parking signs, there's nothing to dictate that. And it's already an unsafe turn. So we're just asking, especially when people park there with holidays, because we're the
Yeah.
closest to downtown.
So separately, if you can, I know in the past we've asked, and I don't know how much they're actually enforcing it for our details that we're paying for. They shouldn't need signage for parking within 20 feet of an intersection, like the gentleman said, it's automatically law. If you're within 20 feet of an intersection, you can't park there. Can we just go ahead and ask the details to start enforcing? Because it's not just this road, it's Nash, and it's a whole bunch of others. They're not supposed to be within, it's either 15 or 20 feet. of an
Yeah, but
intersection.
that only covers the instance when the guy sees that.
Right.
No, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have it painted as well, but I'm saying it's an additional measure.
Yeah,
Let's get the enforcement on all the streets, because it's not just this street that's a problem.
Okay.
And the only thing I add is too, we are very close to the school and I have to
Yep.
creep up because kids do come by very quickly. They don't see that sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
To death as well.
Yeah.
The kids, I mean, honest to God.
Do you have any other?
They got the mirror up there.
Well, you can't see with the brick wall either.
When I first moved there, I took away the trees and the lease of.
Any other?
That mirror is terrible.
Yeah, thank you. Any other public comments in the room? Gary? Brenda, do we have any public comments online?
No, sir, we do not.
All right. Moving on to administrative matters, oath of office for newly elected supervisors. Anything you
Right,
want-
so I delivered the oath to Mr. Filak, Mr. Hart, Mr. McLaughlin before the meeting. So they've all been sworn in. Jack elected to take compensation. Mr. Hart and Greg did not elect to take compensation. And then I'm trying not to get him to disrobe like he talked about, so. Next, we can move on to resolution 2025-03, which is designating officers. So you have two options. You can make a motion to leave it the same as it is. Or we can have nominations for chairman and then vice chair and move on from there.
So I will open up by saying I appreciate the past 4 years. It truly has been an honor staying as chairman. I'm not looking to do that. And it's not for anything related to the district. It's between work and life, and just I think it's time for someone else to step up to a chair role.
All right.
The past 4 years, I think we'd be better.
I'd like to nominate Tom Susan for chairman and
No.
Second,
Second,
get a second.
By Dave.
all in favor?
Aye.
aye,
And
All right.
I'd like to nominate David Hume for vice chairman and
I'll second
To Greg, all in favor?
aye.
that. Aye.
All right. So we have Tom Tuzen as chair, Dave Hume as vice chair, Angel Montagna as secretary, Leah Popelka as treasurer, Angel Montagna as assistant treasurer, and then assistant secretaries will be Jack McLaughlin, Shell Hart, and Greg Filak.
You've actually just,
Changing.
so on the agenda, you've got Stephen Bloom.
I know.
You're gonna edit that, okay.
It should have been edited. I apologize for that. Yes, Leah's
Alright,
treasurer. And then assistant secretaries would be Shell, Jack, and Greg.
So do I have to say, I move to approve resolution 2025-03?
That is correct.
I'll second. Any other discussion? All's in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Good, I'm gonna move on.
Does he take over that?
Come on, jeez.
Here, you can use this to be like
Thank you.
the gavel.
No,
All right.
I do thank you, because I know you put a lot of hours.
Absolutely.
A lot of hours for this meeting, so appreciate it very much.
Lots of good work too.
Hopefully you'll take a vacation at some point.
I thought he's been doing that.
Yeah.
You know what, as hard as he's been working, no, I'm not kidding. All right, so next up, we have, third party reports. Do you have anybody from Crow? I don't think,
No,
You know, line.
no, and I don't believe Osceola County's here.
No,
See a definite lack of a blotter as usual.
Yeah. We might have to have like
I
a,
will tell you, today we got notification that Ashley Wetzel is no longer the detail coordinator. That there's been someone new added into that, so we might have better luck getting those things that we've requested. Not saying it's Ashley, but maybe with this new switch into someone new into the position, we may be able to get.
Well, I'd like to see the blotter
further.
because looking through the deputy reports, there's
Mhm.
one incident there where there's somebody doing some soliciting, a male, female doing soliciting.
I'm sorry,
and
what?
A male and female person doing soliciting in Lake Evelyn. And
Oh, like door to door soliciting, not soliciting.
and they got
That's, I
Okay.
had to see.
I was like, what?
and they got trespassed, and then subsequently she drove off and the cop got her for speeding. And gave her 3 citations for driving without a license and speeding and some other things. I'd like to see some of this stuff.
I
Should have
mean,
been there.
I
I
would have been
always
there.
suggest.
Were you there?
We've been asking for
I
this for a
called.
year, guys. I mean, it's every meeting, we're bringing up the
Yep.
same thing.
You
so
called
I
him
don't
on
know
this?
what-
Well, even when he was here,
Yeah.
I mean, it took Greg kind of calling them to the carpet and he ended up delivering it that day.
5 minutes
Um,
before the meeting.
Yeah, so we've asked numerous times that, you know, we
And-
really want this, we really want this. And he said it the last time when Greg and I talked to him, oh yeah, we'll start getting that.
So
And it just
my
hasn't happened.
suggestion would be as a different approach is, you know, again, number one, we can bring it up to the captain. Again, I don't know that it would make much of a change. I would suggest doing it as a records request. They can't deny a sunshine records request. And if we just do that, I mean, if honestly, if we just do it each month. And say that, you know, by the
Hopefully if you
2
do it
weeks,
once,
two
they'll
weeks
get
before the
idea.
meeting, yeah. they'll
Right.
Kind of give a hint.
They'll get it.
and on top of that, I'm curious, the blotter is important to me because I'm curious to know, we have a joint agreement. For the downtown area for deputies to be there.
Mhm.
And I don't know if they're there or not.
Well, I don't know if the blotter's gonna show that. The blotter's just gonna show.
That's,
incident
yeah, it's not
reports.
gonna show that. Their detail reports show,
Well, I don't see a detail report for the
I agree with
downtown
you,
at that
sir.
time then.
But that the blotter's not gonna show that.
yeah.
Well, but if there was any arrests or everything, there would be,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, if there's any incidents, it will show up on that.
I'm curious, because if we're paying for that, there should be incidents. Trust me, there
Well-
should be incidents. So we're not even seeing that. I don't even know if the deputy is out there. That's my thing.
Well, other than what I see for the deputy reports, all I know.
Yep.
But I have a question for you. I asked you yesterday about the accident reports.
Mm-hmm.
When did you finally get the accident reports?
I think they're sitting on my desk.
No,
I've got
did we get 'em?
I've
I
got
sent them
copies,
to
but it
him.
was it's like almost 3 months to get the accident reports.
Mhm.
Okay, that's
We're
really
waiting for,
ridiculous.
for FHP.
We're waiting for
No,
FHP
we
now.
were waiting for them. That's who had to provide them.
Oh, okay.
Because even
What,
though,
Osceola County then?
when it comes to the streets, that's what we thought. We went to Osceola County first. And they're like, no, FHP handles the traffic portion.
Can we maybe, again, taking a different approach, because it's not just been the blotters, it's been. The use of the LPR cameras, we were getting reports and then we're not, I mean, it's, we're constantly chasing them. Jan, is there a way we can do? I don't know if an interlocal agreement's the right way of doing it, but some sort of enforceable memorandum. To say, hey, if we're gonna continue to pay for off-duty services. Any of our off-duty services should get a report at the end of the shift. We should, you know, the different notifications and things we're looking at that should be overarching over any of the off-duty
So
services we're requesting.
when we renewed it a couple of years ago, when we talked about it, that was part of it. They had to go ahead.
He was
and-
here when we went over
But
that.
that was,
one.
but that was,
It wasn't an understanding. That was part of when we're paying money.
Yeah, let me take
That
a
was a
look
deliverable.
at the agreement, because the agreement's old. I mean, have
The
we
agreements.
done it?
I don't know that
agreement
I've
or
ever
just-
seen an agreement. I just see when she puts in the request into the database that says, hey, I'm requesting a deputy, and you'll put notes in
Yeah, I
there.
think the agreement's expired unless it's. just-
Oh, it's,
I mean,
it was
yeah,
pre-existing.
The last
before I
agreement
got
I
here.
knew of was when we had Jerry Wyland here, it was a full-time
Yes.
guy.
Right,
Correct.
right. There's different.
I think we need to relook at if we're gonna stay with this model. Let's try to find some sort of enforceable
Okay,
agreement
we'll
with some of
talk to
those
the
things.
sheriff, the council.
Yeah, 'cause
if
I
they have
went-
Somebody who's been there a while now that will get it, I mean, understand what we're looking for and. what we
Initially,
need.
when we were getting the detail reports from every detail, they were just essentially garbage. And then when I went back to him, we met here in the office and I'm like, we need some real details of what's going on during the course of their 4-hour shift. And so he went back and they got better for a little bit, but now they're starting to taper back off again where there's really not much detail in there.
Well, some are good. I like. to get
Yeah,
out.
some
And
certain
butlers. and-
guys are good and certain other ones are just very like, yep, I was there. I drove around.
And I mean,
And
the other
that's
thing
really
I'll
it.
throw out there, and I've said it a few times, and I'd be open to revisiting it, and the sheriff's major Wilkinson said they would consider it if we approached them. Do we want to go back to a full-time single person and go away from the details and go back to a committed community officer? It fits within our budget. It's changing the construct, but it fits within our budget. Listen, I like the flexibility of the details when it's working as we want it to work. In the first couple of years, it was working a lot better than I think it is now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think we're losing accountability because we're getting so many deputies. We don't have a say in who we get. We put in a deputy request and it could be Joe Blow, it could be Tom Smith.
Well, and they may not even take the,
Overtime.
yeah, they
Correct.
may not take it, so which means it doesn't get filled.
I would,
But that would mean that we're getting no coverage then, if it's not being taken, right?
If it does, I mean, you don't get billed for it, but yeah, they can, if they don't pick up a shift, there's nothing we can do about it, and we don't know until Ashley sends out a thing.
or early 20, I'm sorry, early 20 was terminated. And I can understand why it was terminated. At that point, the challenge was
The evenings and the.
well, the lawyer at that meeting said, hey, you can't tell the deputy what to do. And they specifically said, we're not trying to get him to say, hey, write a ticket for that person, but not that person. It was, I'd like you to do traffic enforcement. I'd like you to do burglary details. And they're saying, no, you can't do that. And then he started getting pulled to other things kind of frequently.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah.
There's a balance there, but right now I feel like.
When you
this
have
is-
your community officer, is that an actual sheriff's guy?
Yeah.
Well.
Or is it a community
community service?
resident?
It's resident.
Oh, so
There's
he
an
can
officer.
write
Yeah.
tickets,
No,
he
he
can do
cannot
all
write,
those
he cannot
things?
write tickets.
Jerry Wine.
Yeah,
Jerry, absolutely.
Okay, I'm talking, the community volunteers, he has to do.
She means the.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
not what Cliff
Okay.
Akey was doing,
No, this was
No,
a real.
Jerry was a
So
full sworn
he
deputy.
can do whatever
The-
a normal
the arrangement
sheriff.
Was,
Okay.
we were paying about 120 a year. And that included the salary, the car, the training, all the other stuff. And it was Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And originally, as I understood it, we had flexibility on the schedule. Hey, if you had break-ins in the middle of the night, great. Guess what? You're coming off Thursday, you're gonna work Saturday night for 8 hours and you're gonna go look for burglars.
And that was 120 in what year?
It ended in 20.
Well, I mean.
I think it
you
was around
budget-
100 or 120,000.
You budget now, I mean, we could probably, if you guys decide to go that direction, it might still be within budget, we budget.
We got 190, but that includes the cameras.
That includes the camera, so it's still about 150 that we budget for
It still gives us some
detail.
surge to be able to do like Halloween or something like that as well.
Depending on what their number is, but that's your budget number right now is what you budget is about 150 for detail and about 40 for the cameras.
I mean, personally, if they came back to the table and were willing to give us the services the way we'd like to get them, that's reasonable.
Mhm.
I'd be supportive of increasing the budget if we needed to, just so we're getting what we need, because right now we're spending $190,000 while we're not getting what we need.
And you have virtually you have no control over it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering at one point, do we need a meeting with the sheriff to sit down and say? This
This
is
is
where
not
we
wor-
are.
yeah,
This
this
is
is not
where this is
working.
where we are.
I mean,
We're
yeah,
not, listen, we're not here to criticize, it's just because of the way everything's set up, it's just not working. It's just not working.
Well, and I would suggest when you say the sheriff, actually the sheriff.
No,
not-
I'm
not
talking
the
about the
captain.
sheriff,
Yeah.
right, no, I'm talking about the sheriff.
yeah, because Greg and I've had several phone calls, sit downs and all of that. And like I said, it gets better for a minute and then it just kind of tapers off again. So,
The thing is that we answer the public for the dollars we're actually spending. If we're not
Absolutely.
getting the money we actually spending, then I'm like, why are you even spending this money?
mhm.
Right? I mean, it doesn't seem to make much sense.
Yep.
Okay.
So what would you all like me to do?
I mean, I think getting a meeting, if Jan, if you want to approach it first, maybe from the, if you're gonna talk to the
I'll call
council.
and find out like how
Yeah.
can we start getting what we need under our agreements.
I mean,
and See where he goes, but I think getting a meeting makes. the
I'm
most
happy to
sense.
reach
I
out
think that
to,
makes the most
I
sense.
mean, I think it's, we can do it side by side.
I'm happy to reach out to Major Wilkinson and just say, hey, can you help us get a meeting with the sheriff? And bring him in and we can do, Angel, I can have a meeting with him or Tom if you want. Either way.
I could do that.
Okay, so we'll work on
I have
setting a
more
meeting, Jan.
Okay, and you work on setting the meeting, I'll work on talking to the council to see what ideas he may have.
And
that
Angel,
may
I'll
help
just,
us in a meeting.
Angel, I'll just do an interim.
Original agreement too. I'm assuming it's auto renewing.
Yeah, I don't think we
Yeah.
have an agreement.
I don't think
It's
you
just
do.
the- I
We
think
just
we
went to the
hire
details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The agreements
Can you
expired.
get Crowe to help a little bit?
They do,
They
Yeah,
do.
they do.
the downtown area.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so
All right.
I will reach out and get that,
And if you want me to, Angel, I can do an email to Major Wilkinson, just copy you and then you can pick that up.
that's fine,
That'd be good.
okay.
Okay.
Consent.
Consent agenda,
Move to approve it.
Right.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Rulemaking hearing regarding parking and towing. I know this is something we've already,
Yeah, it's
Done.
been discussed. This is just the public hearing, so we need a motion to open the
Open.
public hearing.
Move to open the public hearing.
Who is the second? Greg,
Greg was.
all in favor,
Aye.
uh,
all right,
The
Aye.
Celebration Development District rule regarding parking and towing on the district's property. We looked at the various comments that were made. It was included in the agenda. If anyone has any questions or.
I got a question.
Public, what's any public comments?
questions?
I do have a question. Under section 4, parking restrictions.
Yeah, do.
Well, let's get the public.
we got public
Oh,
comments first.
sorry.
Please, Jack.
Gary?
Any public comment on?
Yes. Gary Husband, 1471 Resolute Street, and I'm speaking as also a member of the Covenants Committee in Crowell. As you probably are aware, the state legislature and the governor signed a document on 1 June, House Bill number 1203, which puts more definition and changes some of Florida statute 720 specifically for HOAs. They included a definition of a commercial vehicle. The short answer is, if a resident of an HOA can have his pickup painted for work, it's still his private vehicle. He or she is now allowed to park in their own driveway. And that's perfectly fine. That's now the rule. So CROA modified the rules in the celebration charter and approved that definition of a commercial vehicle from the state definition of a commercial vehicle, and included that new rule about parking your own business personal vehicle in your driveway overnight on the 18th of July. So I bring this up because there's no reason why you can't do what you're doing. But I wanted to point out that now there's probably a misunderstanding as people go through this of your definition of a commercial vehicle as in current document. And CROA used the definition of a commercial vehicle from state statutes.
Gary, because I'm sure you know off the top of your head, what are the differences between what we have written and what the
Yeah.
state has written?
Right. So your document, I understand, applies to the alleys and district property, which is all the
Correct.
land. Your definition of a commercial vehicle includes business pickups and vehicles that have racks on them that you can put tools, as well as sign paintings on the vehicles. Those are authorized under the state and is now part of the CROA.
Yeah, but that's, I understand that, but the difference here is the towing is because they are parking illegally in CCD property.
Right,
That's and the vehicles that we noticed are exactly what's defined in there. Those are the ones that are.
Totally agree.
blocking it.
Yeah.
I'm not being critical, I'm just pointing out that
Yeah.
you may find as years go by, residents have two different definitions of a commercial vehicle. And that's going to create confusion and you'll have to explain that.
Well, whether you're allowed to park on the driveway, that's fine, but don't park it on our property.
Yeah.
That's the other
Even
thing.
people- even people with
And
commercial vehicles,
what I'm
they park in
saying,
the driveway, they're fine.
720 doesn't apply to what we're dealing with.
Totally understand, but it's all within the confines of the residential area of Celebration. And that's where people are gonna get confused.
Well,
Now, you are perfectly within your right to do that.
I know you know the legal definitions backwards and forwards, but they don't. And I don't think they're gonna get that confused. They're gonna see commercial vehicle and I shouldn't be here.
I understand, but there's two different definitions of commercial vehicles.
Yeah, we understand, but if we say that your definition in the alleys, then we could never tow anybody if there's contractors parked all day.
That's right.
That's the problem, that's the problem.
That's
Which defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand, that's right.
Yeah, I understand.
But you'll have to explain that to residents.
We understand there's gonna be a messaging that needs to go out that, hey, just because Crowley defines it one way for your driveway.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily our definition for the alleyways and the streets.
And I don't think
Yeah.
critical, I just
No.
want to point out that you'll have to do this over and over again as years go by.
Yep.
Oh, like the tree incident we just heard about.
Thank you, sir.
Hopefully the signs will solve the problem.
Any other-
We won't see
Any other
that.
public comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can-
Private comment?
So Jack, now you can,
You can close the public.
Close.
I move to close the public comment. All right. I have a
Second,
question for, on section 4, parking restrictions. Paragraph D is just virtually identical to, in the statement of, paragraph B. Is that, can we strike D and renumber the remaining?
You said it's repetitive.
B is the crosswalk and stops, yeah, the stop sign is repetitive.
I mean,
We can just strike D if you want.
I just don't see where it adds anything. It's the same thing as in B.
Probably was alone on B and then got added to B, and
Yeah,
we can delete B if that's okay with everybody.
that's fine. The only problem I had with it.
delete D.
B
Okay,
is deleted.
we can approve as amended.
All right, I moved to, let's see, this resolution now.
I did have another question, just remind me, so the distances and all that. 20 feet from a crosswalk, 30 feet from a stop sign, those are all, I'm assuming we're pulling all this from state law.
That's Osceola County.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I move to approve resolution 2025-04 as amended.
second,
Is there more discussion?
Yes,
Oh, you got more, Dave? Sorry.
Yeah. So if you notice, I had two questions that I highlighted there. One was that there was no exhibit A attached to our agenda. So I don't know what exactly the property is that we're referring to.
It would be, and we had it on one of these, it was a map of all the CDD property.
So all alleyways,
It
all.
would be all alleyways, all.
All
CDDs.
CDD property.
So it'll be attached to the resolution
Yeah.
then.
yes, it'll be on the
Yeah,
resolution.
So why are we going through the whole in section 2? Is there something excluded there? Why is it such a large description of the district property? Can't we just state it's the district property? Or is there something that's not included in this that we own?
I'm not following, it's everything the district owns.
He's saying, can it just say all
Just say
property
all
district
property of the
instead of
district?
going into that paragraph?
You generally need to have a map when you have a rule in case somebody doesn't know what the district property is. And you generally attach a map so you can see exactly these are the alleys. I mean, the map will be tiny, but it still
All right.
is the CDD property. Because you'll get someone who says, I have no idea what the CDD owns. I don't know the alleys are owned by the
Well,
CDD or. the
I mean, I'm
county."
gonna use one as an example, and I think I understand Dave's comment is when you give a list and by exclusion, if it's not on there, then it doesn't
Then,
apply.
you're right,
Somebody parking on a sidewalk, which happens. Somebody parking in easement areas in the grass, which happens.
those are CDD areas.
What's that?
Golf park would be a good example where we're gonna put
Yeah.
out 60, 70 signs for Halloween.
And I think to Dave's point, if you mention the ones that, if you exclude the others, then it kind of, okay, well, I can park on grass, I can park on sidewalks. 'Cause
So
that's
can
all
we
CDD.
eliminate all of that and just refer to the map as CDD property, or does it have to be spelled out in the paragraph?
It would make more sense to spell it out because the map is going to be so small, it's going to be tough for people to say that.
I'd
"Oh, I
like,
couldn't tell on the map that
yeah,
it was the
I
alleys."
agree with Jan. I like spelling it out.
I'm
Well, then
fine.
it's missing
I
something.
just wanna make sure
Do
it's
we
it's
wanna add
across the
sidewalks?
list.
Do
We need
wanna
to add everything
sidewalks,
else.
parks and everything
Yes.
else.
yeah,
Yeah,
because that's exactly where the damage is at.
Okay.
right.
Sidewalks, parks, green spaces.
Like
etc.
And then- Yeah, my second comment really dovetails to Gary's comment, which is in section 3A, the description of commercial vehicle includes anything leased to a company, and I know several people that have sedans that are leased to a company, and by this rule, they would be in violation if they're parking. Is that
We
the
needed
intent?
that.
That's deleted.
It's deleted,
Do you have
Oh,
the?
is it?
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I suggested deleting it. I didn't know if it actually happened, so great.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, it did.
All right.
You got that one, okay,
And then that two in there should come out, like,
yeah, that's a one,
well,
one or two.
it'd be one and change the other one to two.
So you have a motion and a second as amended.
Did we also figure out who's gonna do the towing? I know we don't have a county towing. Did we find an appropriate company? And I know signage was the other thing as well.
There are several towing companies, we will see who's willing to do it with being called by the CDD. Because most of them like to be able to come out on their
In
own.
Rome.
So there's
Make
three-
money.
Yeah, there's about 3 companies that do work for CDD, so we'll contact all 3 and see if any are
I think
interested and bring a contract back.
the direction was, we're not gonna allow them to roam. They have to be
It has to be by
physically called
staff, yeah.
by staff in order for them to be towed from district property.
But then also the signage, we were concerned about, or we're gonna have to pepper signs all over town, or are we just doing them? on the
Entrance
streets?
and exit.
Yeah, entrance and exit to the CBD, and we might want to put it on the parking lot,
Right.
that's in parking lot.
So no, not all over town with, it looks like a garage sale vomited, but it'll be entrance, exit, and then parking lots.
So with the motion here, do we need some approval for you guys to go buy signs? Cause that's gonna be.
No, the
Yeah.
towing company supplies those
We'll come
signs.
back next month with the contract with
Yeah.
the towing company, and they will do the signage.
They provide all of that. We just have to tell them where to put them.
Free stuff, yeah, yes.
Fine.
That's all I had. Thanks, sir.
Call the question.
Any other questions?
Speaking of parking, may I interview for a second? Rumor is that
Almost
Carlisle,
there.
the parking lot that they have, which is technically right CDD.
Carla.
It's the Stetson one.
Does that?
Stetson?
No, not Stetson, but Carlisle. Where they've got no parking signs and all that, but I've always been told.
Well, there's two
that's-
Carlisles.
It's the Carlisle by the.
Columbia?
East, Carlisle East.
Is that now going to be Carlos? Cause that's what I heard like this week.
Well, it's,
Can we finish this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we were
Yeah,
done.
no,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no,
I
no,
apologize.
No, that's okay, just, let's okay, let's get a vote. and then
Yes.
Go to the.
I apologize.
control your meeting.
Any other, well, I thought I won until we went this way. Like, what are you talking about? Any other discussion?
Aye.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Perfect. All right, Russ.
Okay.
I just brought it up because we're talking about parking and I.
It's fine.
Bobby that does maintenance for them called me up the other day and goes, you do know that we're gonna own the parking lot now, Crowa
So Bobby
said we
thinks,
could, and I'm like. Crowa did? Do we not own that parking lot?
So are we talking, I want to be very. clear.
Carlisle East,
It's the small one with like the white.
So
yeah, it's
Yeah,
not the
so
bigger.
that's not ours.
Well, I don't know. Let's-
That little one is not ours.
I think there was a thing a long time ago when they built that, that.
It had to be
CDD owned it, so people could park there for downtown.
Yeah, but we weren't maintaining it or something crazy like
I
that.
don't want it.
Do we?
You're talking across the
The
street. from
district has an
Columbia's?
exchange
Yes,
agreement with
that's-
Carlisle and owns those
It is.
Yeah.
parking spaces in 2 lots. So there's
We can
an
bring this up
agreement.
next month, I just heard about it. I
It's
think it was
an agreement where
yesterday,
we
talking
own the
about
40
parking.
spaces.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Get an agreement and.
We own 99 spaces in one lot and 52 spaces in the other.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right point.
So we own stuff in both lots,
Correct.
spaces.
For public
So
parking.
yeah, it's the page, not the whole thing.
No, it's just spaces, 99 in one and 60, Brenda, in the other.
52.
Okay.
So how can anybody own that? If we own.
I think the parking lot itself is Crowa's, right, Brenda? But we own spaces through an exchange agreement.
That was
Can we-
with Carlisle. I can look at the exhibit on my computer in a minute, but yes. So the one right across the Seminole building has some spaces in it. And then the Carlisle lot attached to Stetson, which we typically refer to as the Stetson parking lot.
Mhm.
But yes, that is next to Carlisle, who has private spaces.
Yeah, but,
If you could send us the agreement so we can look at it.
Yeah,
and
that
we
would-
can
that
come
would
back
help.
next month.
Sure.
yeah.
There's an agreement and a
Discuss
First
this.
Amendment. I will send those. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Can I also request? With these rules, when we put them in place, the tree one was a perfect example. We never got out a cheat sheet, a dump. I mean, we need to publish the rule on the webpage.
That's-
I understand that.
We're gonna get to that.
Okay,
Yeah, that is a must.
yeah, because
That-
people don't read this.
No, I get that, but that's, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on. Number 9,
Motion to open.
motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
This is the memorial program that you all talked about, several meetings. They just got published with this other hearing, so it's been kind of sitting waiting. It had the addition of the dogging stations. Other than that, nothing changed.
Okay. Any public comment?
Any public comment on the memorial rule?
Gary?
It's your chance, Gary. You can get a memorial. Cheap.
Jack's working on his.
I move to close public comment.
Second.
Right.
Go to the
I
resolution.
move to adopt a resolution. What is it? 2025-05?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Motion to close.
Motion opposed. Second.
My second.
Sorry. Thank you, Jack.
What are we closing for?
You have to close a public hearing.
That's the.
I did.
Open and close.
You open things, you gotta close things,
I
Jack.
thought I closed it already.
My kids know that when they go to the.
I closed it already.
Jack, you did, yes.
Thank you.
I didn't.
We're good. We're double good.
Brenda said, thank you.
All
for-
right. Moving on to
Yeah.
business matters.
You're running out of time.
A review of audit committee ranking and board of audit engagement.
Well, the audit committee met about 2 weeks ago and we looked at the RFPs for Burger Tombs, Elam, Gaines and Frank, and McDermott and Davis, and also Grau and Associates. And we had 4 people voting on them, and we came up with a final vote of 92.75 was winner, McDermott and Davis.
Okay.
They have a $5,200 per year for the next 5 years is what they're offering, which is $200 more per year than we're paying right now. But we've had them for the last 4 years, I guess it is. And then we elected to stay with them mainly because continuity. Okay, they've done it for the last 4 or 5 years. We know what the product is that they're giving us, and it was only slightly more expensive than the Grau and Associates, which we really weren't sure about the number of people that are qualified as CPAs in that group to begin with.
Okay.
The other one was $6,000 more expensive, so we said no.
And they've been timely. We've had problems in other districts and not getting our audits on time, so.
Yeah,
McDermott's
we've always had, we did clean audits for the last 4 years, so, or more than that, probably. So that's what we recommended was McDermott and Davis. So I move that we approve McDermott and Davis as our auditors.
I'll second that. Any other discussion?
One comment I'll make, and I'll support it just because the work they've done has been adequate, good, whatever. I would like to see just, and I appreciate that the audit committee ranked these for us. I would like to see the actual proposals in the RFP, just since we're the ones voting on it, that if we can get those in the agenda when we do these next time. Just so we can deal as well.
That's fine. Typically, it's just what the audit committee recommends is why you only saw that, but we can start putting
I've
all
got
of them.
100 pages of
Yeah.
good reading for you.
After what we went through with landscaping proposals, that's okay.
Well, this is a rather small contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Okay, B, second amendment to agreement with Infomarket Management and Field Services.
So Jan drafted the amendment, sent it out. Again, putting in the 2 scope changes that the board requested, which was one, which was managing the Celebration CDD Facebook page,
Mhm.
which we were already currently doing. You just wanted it memorialized in the scope. The second was the My Celebration app. Again, already doing it, but wanted it memorialized in the scope. Also, the board approved the 2 positions, adding 2 positions, one being a maintenance tech, the other, because of taking on the GoGov, it's kind of morphed into a full-time position, and it's more of a technical position. So it's going to be like a field inspection type position, which is obviously higher than a maintenance tech. So adding those 2 positions comes to the 155. That's the difference, and those are the only changes in there that
Yeah,
Jan put in.
I added the website too, because I.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't in the current scope, but we also managed
And that
the
was my intent
website.
when I made the Facebook comment was
Yeah,
any,
to just.
any outreach type
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
to see what else was.
So the question I have, I like the amendment of the field inspector.
Mhm.
I really like the amendment of the field inspector. We don't have any amendments to the statement of work language, though, encapsulating what additional service is being provided that the field inspector would do that we're not already covering today. So because it's a performance-based contract, if we're gonna add a different person, I know the maintenance tech we were talking about, that was because of the growth of Iowa
Yeah.
Village. So that one totally makes sense. That's just a geographic growth question. The field inspector, though, I would like to see some language specifically articulating what the expectation.
And we have a scope, so I can send that out to the board.
Okay.
In the morning, I can also copy Jan and we can add that full scope in there. It's pretty comprehensive as far as what that individual will be responsible for. So I can send that out.
If we're voting on it tonight, can you just talk through some of those?
Yes, so number one, they will be managing the My Celebration app. They will be updating it. Any work orders that come in, they will actually be going out, looking at what comes in, evaluating it, and seeing what action plan needs to be taken. Coming back, make sure they're going over it with Carrie and Russ, because Carrie and Russ can't obviously be everywhere all the time. They're also going to be helping out some, doing a site inspection of the entire community for your agenda, which is twice a month or once a month. I know I'm missing some stuff, Carrie.
I talk more about closer managing the contractors, landscape. Vendors.
Yeah,
We have the individual that we kind of have in that position now is with the guys pruning trees right now, making sure they're hitting the contract and right heights over sidewalk street.
so vendor management on a closer level, going out there, because right now when they come out and do stuff, Russ goes out and gets them started and then he's kind of doing other things. So there's really no one there with them doing the whole project, whether it's the tree vendor, landscapes, any of that. So just a closer watch and management of the vendors, the My Celebration app, maintaining that, managing that, going out, doing the evaluations, coming back, closing tickets, updating tickets, meeting with residents. Trying to think everything.
done that in the past.
Carrie and Russ. That's why.
Part of their scope of the.
Not to that degree, no. And being that we added this My Celebration app, now it's more intense of.
There's more requests.
There's
more requests.
Utilization of the app is growing. It is almost a full-time job now, just to manage the work orders.
Yeah.
That and Highland Village are the two.
Correct. And and as you stated, yes, Russ and Carrie were doing some of that, but if a resident, a ticket comes in, Russ and Carrie may not be able to get to it today. They may get to it at the end of the week or the beginning of next week. At this point, this will be done like in real time because that's solely what he's going to be dedicated to be doing. So
I think there's a little customer service piece too, because we get a lot of
There
people
is.
that walk through that door. And they tie up the admin for 45 minutes at a time.
yeah,
If you had that individual, that person could deal with that, because a lot of times they're looking for either Russ and I.
mhm.
We can't come up with the time or we're busy. That individual should have the freedom to come up and have like interaction or conversation with.
And the largest component of it also, which we've been talking about for a few years now, is at some point Russ is going to decide he wants to sail off into the sunset
No, he
and,
can't.
No.
right? I know. And that 28, Yeah.
I've been hearing too much of this.
I know. And 28 years of knowledge. I mean, he knows celebration
He's just
from the
learning it
ground
now.
up. He's got to download that information to somebody. So this
28
person,
years to download it.
yeah, this person would be kind of like that protege of following Russ, kind of being his shadow too, getting the downloads of what he knows, which is going to take a lot of time in itself. So,
So a couple thoughts and concerns.
sure.
So what you just described is absolutely needed, and I think it's more than what like you just took basically all the field maintenance, other than somebody actually turning wrenches. I just heard all that get crushed into one person. I'm not sure that that's one person. And what I'm thinking of is so the actual operation of the app itself. I wouldn't think would be with the field tech. I think that would, I would think that would still remain with the admin staff.
It is.
But the field tech is actually getting those tickets.
Yep.
I wouldn't imagine he's in the system much. He's the one actually going out and
Correct.
doing the things.
When he's
Okay.
providing updates and going out, the admin is still doing that portion of the app itself updating the resident, updating the ticket.
Okay,
The problem that we ran into was getting them timely, right? So if Russ and Carrie aren't available to go out and evaluate something and provide that feedback, it holds up the admins from being able to close out the ticket, update the ticket.
Particular service level guarantee or.
Within 10 days is kind of the default. We try and do it a lot. Yeah, we're trying to do it a lot sooner than that, but the system automatically sends me a report if tickets aren't closed within 10 days.
but we did, when we first implemented this, that's a good question. We did, I mean, we had a whole workshop on service level agreements and they were a lot shorter than 10 days.
Depending on, no,
No.
so there's a.
There's different levels.
Yeah, so if it was like streetlights, there was so many days. If it was,
Mhm.
there was a breakdown.
It starts at 3.
Right.
It's 3, 5, 7, and 10.
And a lot of them, I remember, were just, if I remember right, were just, hey, the time to respond to a ticket, whether it's a street light or a water main break, you know, is a certain amount of time. And then the actual response time for the incident is gonna be different depending on the incident, whatever. Right.
There are stuff that, okay, the SLA goes out the window because what they're talking about is board approval, and that's a whole nother,
Right.
right, that's a whole nother thing.
So there's different levels, different
Well, even that we can
components.
Respond to, and, you know, like, we said,
Sure.
we need to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're trying to
that's
do it
what's
within
updated.
24 hours now, at least. Yeah, we got your ticket, we're looking into it, or we can get to it, or,
Yeah.
you know,
And this additional
I think.
piece of staff is going to help with that tremendously. With being able to go out in real time and look at these things instead of having to schedule it between Russ and Carrie, between what they're doing and, you know, getting over to evaluate it.
And my other question was gonna be, because I think inherent to all this for consistency of messaging. Is this person going to be the person who interacts when Mrs. Jones calls and says, I got a tree problem or I got a water main problem, or whatever, that this is gonna be the resident focused, resident facing person?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is the intent, yes.
I think after the hurricane, Russ, I think you were busy probably 6 hours a day going out to individual homes.
Yes.
And that was just
This puts Russ totally in charge of staff and.
it was unsustainable because there was so much to be done, but
Yeah.
what do I do? Right, do I go to homes or do I go ahead and try to get the rest of the community? So it, you know, so this I think we'll go ahead.
I agree with it. I think it gives a clean break. I just wanna make sure we're.
Yeah, no,
That's the
listen,
intent.
when we're doing this, we're supposed to be asking questions, so. that's the
Yeah.
whole point.
So it just frees up Russ a little bit more and Carrie for that matter, because they are in the field. You've got the sidewalk project going on. You've got different elements. Russ is also constantly out doing stuff as well. So it just adds that component.
And have this already been filled or we would be looking to fill it?
No, we already have both individuals. We were just waiting for the board to make sure everybody was on board with it. But we already have them slated, ready to go.
And shared with ECDD as everybody else, or is this dedicated?
No, this would be dedicated.
So my.
Your admin portions are, as I talked about before, shared with ECDD.
So my next question is just going back to what we had discussed last meeting. So we talked about the alignment. So we're gonna, was it the decision, we're gonna stay under the current contract until 1 October and then this new contract will kick in with the new rates on 1 October, just so we can.
No, well,
I think our agreement was December 1st.
It is, but what he's talking about is we want to try and align it with fiscal year, the budget. So what we would do, because of labor, if we're adding these positions, we can't keep it the way it is. So we would do an amendment from now until
So,
October when we're in it.
Okay, so let me
Yeah.
amend it for that.
So
And that
just
would be-
go back.
That would be amended at the current rate just extended or under the new rate?
The new rate. for
The new rate,
towns.
October 1.
The new rate kicks in October 1 of 25. We're going,
The new rate, the additional, the 155
right,
would go into effect now, not October 1, obviously would go into effect now, but the contract we want to make sure is aligns with October 1, September 30.
So
Okay.
it'll
So
go
it's-
from 12/1 to 9/30.
Yeah.
September 30.
We're adding an
And then we can,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll
Okay.
change the term.
And that just gets us back on track for the budget cycle.
okay.
That's all. And I think
Yeah,
that was
no,
the
I think
goal.
You brought that concern up.
Yeah.
Because this was the only one that was not in cycle.
Right.
Yeah, because we were on, I think, February or something
Yeah.
crazy like that. So this will bring it back in line.
Okay, we'll make that clear then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm.
Well, I thought you had something
I
to.
was gonna say, I move to approve it.
Well, I did have, and one other question, Jack.
Good move, Jay.
Did I hear a second time?
Give me 5 seconds, stop talking.
Well, I want to give him the opportunity to ask the questions he has.
This will give you your 1 hour meeting time. We're
I-
gonna do it.
You're failing, your first time as a
We-
chairman.
We did bring up the other thing. I just want to make sure we got closure to it because we had a lot of discussion. The whole vehicle versus who had the vehicles versus who has gators. How are we clearing up?
Well, that's a different,
We've already,
Topic.
yeah, we've already cleared that up. Infomark provides all of your vehicles, your trucks,
Right.
and Infomark owns 2 golf carts or whatever, and then the district owns the rest.
I know it is today. I would
Mhm.
I would like to see it codified in the contract because the contract is silent on it as to who brings vehicles, who brings,
Okay,
so
I
that,
mean, we can add.
I mean, that way
in.
when we're adding more staff, if it's inherent that you guys are providing truck with this new guy that's
Well,
coming in, I want to make sure it's clear.
I don't-
That was discussed,
I don't-
and we wanted to have. You know, yeah, the trucks are over Infomark and they have so many gators, right? The question was, in the future. Do we wanna, are we gonna buy gators or do we want Infomark to incorporate that into the contract?
And we went back and forth for a while on this one.
We did, but we never.
I don't think we came to a
We
conclusion,
didn't
is
come
my
to a
point.
conclusion because we were
Yeah.
waiting to go ahead and see numbers to show, all right, well, if it was this, if this choice,
Yes.
this choice, this choice. So then the decide.
There was question on
Yeah,
insurance,
that's
insurance and
what-
liability impacts.
Well, and I think that's where it died, because I'm gonna tell you, that's where I thought it died, because the owner of, my understanding is the owner of the vehicle is liable.
Yes.
And the district didn't want to take on that liability with like.
That's right, I mean, from that,
Infomark-
right, but I don't think we ever,
What's,
agree
yeah,
on it.
what-
Right.
So Infomark is providing 2 trucks?
No,
No.
they provide a whole fleet.
Okay.
Well, they're providing
Just
all,
providing.
they're providing all the trucks and right now they're providing all the gators except for 2 or
No, no,
2,
no.
but all the gator.
We only own 2.
You own 2
The
gators.
district owns the rest.
We own all the rest.
how
of the
many other
gators.
gators are we talking about?
4 more.
4 more, okay.
Plus the 5th one for the new guy that we're gonna hire.
Well, and that's my point. Now we're buying a new gator, now we're getting a new truck, so how are we doing?
But,
this?
but I want to make sure, because this was not part of the conversation, that if we add on staff, I mean, I hadn't gotten this far down the rabbit hole with Chris yet. If we add on staff, does that automatically mean we're adding a vehicle?
155 incorporated vehicle alone.
Yeah, no,
And to be honest with you, from my
yeah,
perspective.
it doesn't.
It's a performance-based contract.
That's right.
I don't care. He can take a skateboard or he can get a truck. It's up to you guys to figure out how he gets around. That's not on us.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure that it's not on you. I'm
No,
not,
that's
you
why I
know,
want to clarify it now.
yeah. So, but I just want to clarify that this does not mean that every time an employee is added or a truck needs to be added to Infomark, we're just automatically doing that. I mean, that would be at a cost, obviously.
Right.
So that's all I want to make sure.
Infomark status of all trucks and 2 gators.
vote on it if it's?
Well, at this
Yeah.
point, I don't think you need,
For a truck.
yeah, I'm not telling you need additional vehicles. This is a leftover conversation of, I think Dave was bringing it up, whether the district should own all stuff or, you know, because right now, like I said, Infomark has provided vehicles
So.
in the district,
So
so.
my opinion is, I don't think we should carry the liability. I think it's dangerous because it's another company's. Other companies are driving our vehicles and we're taking the entire liability.
Yeah, we don't have any control how they're used.
I
Correct.
agree with you, and I'd like to see if we have a mechanism either to shift the vehicles over to them. Or in the future, let them.
And this is what we talked about the last meeting. We're gonna give you guys the
And-
Yeah,
gators.
should we lease?
And we
yeah, lease
We
the
talked
gators
about
so
that
that's-
at a surface level. I mean, Chris and I did, as far as taking, say, the 4 mules, gators, whatever they are, and see the depreciation value as of today. And then if we should absorb that and then purchase new ones, you know, moving forward as they need to be. And then, you know, filter that into the contract if there needs to be a.
I mean, ideally, I agree with
Schedule.
Jack. I would like to, 1 for simplicity, but 2 for liability. I would love to get out of the vehicle business. Hey, whatever you guys need for your staff, you guys
Okay.
get for your staff.
I can get
Well-
with Chris and put that together, but I think Dave had a different opinion, and I think that's
Yeah.
where we're kind of going
Yep.
a
Go ahead,
little.
Dave.
So hold on, let me interject real quick and ask, this is not a new concept. What do other districts do? Does the district own the property, plant and equipment, or does the management company?
I've seen it both ways where, actually, I'm sorry, I have not seen it both ways. Infomark is the only one that I've seen that provides it. Typically the district has it, and we have actually a couple of districts that we manage that they have district trucks, mules, golf carts, and their staff uses those to do the work.
It's kind of both ways.
Mhm.
We have most of them, the management company owns, but there's a couple that own golf carts and stuff for staff to run around.
I mean, I think just if nothing else from a budgeting perspective, hey, if mules break, if they don't break, and I realize this may come at a cost, right?
Yeah, definitely
You guys
come at
probably
a
aren't gonna do
cost.
this at the same dollar amount, so I expect
Yeah, no.
you may not be agreeing to this tonight, if.
Well, I would agree to it at least so we can get these employees started, because these employees are already slated to do work. I think the maintenance tech especially is needed.
How are they gonna get around?
We have,
We'll use the current vehicles.
yeah, we have current vehicles.
But I think
What
that-
they're doing, and I think to bring Mr. Hart up to speed, the conversation that came up at the last meeting where David kind of thought that the district should really own everything that the district utilizes. And there was some difference of opinion. Well, we don't want liability, we want liability. And I think from day one, Infomark has provided vehicles, trucks.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's been going on since day one. And then over the years, we've always had it in the budget where they had at least one, like 15,000 allocated in the budget if there was a need for like an additional gator or a mule or something of that nature. And all of the equipment, pressure washers, all of that stuff, that is owned by the district. There's a lift, a pressure washing ice cream machine thing, that that the district owns. So really the only thing that Infomark owns now is a piece of equipment, a Kubota, and the fleet of trucks and 2 golf carts or mules.
And this goes back to prior to, let's say, 2020, 2018 timeframe. It was really the district was defining, I need another person, I want this person doing that, I want a staff worker.
It was a body-based
Yeah.
contract.
It was a body-based
Right.
contract where we were driving all the staff decisions and all the procurement, and we started switching, we switched that way with the staff, we haven't switched that way with the equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to a performance-based contract a couple of years
I
ago.
mean, we still own a backhoe, we still own
Mhm,
other stuff like that.
correct. And that's equipment that, you know, over the years, the
We should
district
list-
purchased.
We should. include
We have
list
it.
In the contract, can you give me?
We want
Well,
them
this
to-
contract isn't,
Yeah.
this is not gonna change with this contract, so why don't we
No.
just punt this until we need to buy another piece of equipment?
Well, then, yeah, so let's amend the contract when we need to transfer this stuff over.
I'd like to put what the
Let's get this
CDD
done.
is and base it for $1 to Infomark for maintenance and.
Well, but if,
Because otherwise, I mean, are we insuring it? We have no idea.
Yeah,
Who's
it's
using
on
it?
district, and it's on the district policy, everything that they own, all the equipment and
but-
stuff.
But we don't have control over the employees using it. So we
Correct.
need to put
Correct.
something in the contract that says. When you're using district property, it's gotta be used and they.
well, but
and they're not using
I'd
it
also,
for-
even if we approve something tonight to get staff and at some point down the road, we figure out whatever the final state is.
Mhm.
I would at least like tonight to get consensus on the board as to which way we're going on this, so we can give direction to the two of you to start figuring that out.
Yeah, definitely
We
need
gotta-
direction.
Cause I thought we did, I thought we did, to go ahead and
yeah.
have different options.
I did not do that.
So,
I misunderstood.
I mean, are we in agreement to say we're looking at getting out of the vehicle business? Cause we're talking 3 vehicles that are getting out of, cause the rest of it is
4.
4,
No.
cause the trucks are
My-
already all are on there. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I have yet to see what the exposure is. You talk about liability, but we're a CDD. Don't we have very limited liability?
You do, and you're covered under district insurance, and again, legality, I don't know what
Yeah,
that
I mean, we
means.
have sovereign sovereign immunity up to a point, but people can go to the legislature if they got an award above the sovereign.
And
Yeah.
and to be honest with you,
It's
my
not-
my 2 cents, I'm not worried so much about liabilities, I'm worried about budgeting, as I'm worried about the responsibility maintaining these things, is just, hey, it's turnkey, just give it to them, it's a
Right.
easier management perspective.
I'm with you. I mean, the people we have been they're safe, right? And they work very diligently. I'm not worried about that. More worried about exposure from other people doing that stuff to our staff, right? But I'm also, when we go into budget time, we're gonna need 2 more gators, we need 3 more gators, we need.
Takes us out of the equation.
It just takes us out of it and they can get what they need. And yeah, there's a cost to it, but it's not that full upfront.
Mhm.
And then we have to decide not to do another project because, well, we gotta buy.
Plus, it also, it follows with the spirit of the performance-based contract. Hey, if Isle Village getting bigger and bigger, we can't promise land out there because we don't have any for Madden to be able to lay down yard. Hey,
All right, hold on.
Figure that out.
The thing about it is that if Infomark disappears tomorrow, so does our equipment. Number
That
one.
is
Number two is if we would be abdicating our ability to purchase equipment at a lower rate and at a tax-free rate. So the cost is going to be quite a bit more if you offload that to a management company to do. So it's not fiscally prudent, and then we're going to expose ourselves to having all of our equipment go away if something goes sideways.
Well, and you know
I
what?
think it's a safer thing to own it than to.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think my thing is we've got an item here to go ahead and approve the contract. We are gonna have to have further discussions, workshop, whatever it is, we can amend the contract if we decide to do this, that, whatever.
Yeah, you can always amend
Because
it.
we're not in a position to go ahead and do that. Again, my feeling is, I'm. You know, I agree, we don't all but we're only talking about 4 vehicles, because the fleet of trucks, and there are a fleet of trucks. We're not even there, so if they left tomorrow, we're already gonna we'll lose all that, right? We're already gonna lose 90% of it.
And that's a transition risk if at a point we went to another company.
I think we're getting the weeds, talking about something that's
Yeah.
way in the future. Right now, let's approve the acceptance of this current contract. If we have to do something differently, then we make the amendment later.
Well, I want to make sure, is it something way in the future? Because if we've got 2 new people we're gonna have started. Can Infomark successfully get them around without us giving them another vehicle, another gator
Yeah, we're fine
Okay.
right now.
right now? You heard that? You
Well,
can
I mean,
right
if
now.
I don't know, if we add another person and, I don't know, like you were talking about, you wanted me to put in pricing for like adding an employee every single year for the next X amount of years. I can't do that because of labor rates, but I don't know, that employee may come with, okay, we do need another
Right.
gator or whatever. So, but right now, today, to add these 2 new employees, no.
So we have a motion.
Move to approve the amendment, or the contract.
My last question was, what was the length?
Can we get a second?
second.
I will second.
All right, thank you. So this is trying to move it along, all right.
Okay.
Last one was easy. We talked about doing this as a 5-year contract. Was that what the term of this was?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure, because it wasn't written in here what the term was.
No, I did not.
Yeah, that's what they requested, a
Yes,
5-year,
we did
and
request that.
we
Okay.
still stayed on the 2% escalation every year. They wouldn't budge
Okay.
and give me the rate.
You wouldn't budget give us one.
That's
Yeah.
I absolutely would not.
All right.
Is the job description part of the contract
What job description?
for the new person?
I can give that to you
Okay,
and you can add it in
okay, so
there.
the 2 changes would be added.
Any other
5 years,
discussion?
2%.
Pending that reasonably being what we just
Dave?
discussed. that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
Control your movements.
I'll be nice, I'll tell you later. C, renewal of franchise agreement with Duke Energy.
Yeah, this is a 99.9% final franchise agreement. It's taken about a year to get here. It's the 6%, which is the maximum they give to any governments in the state. We had one tweak of language, which is not yet in here, but with that one tweak, it will be final for automatically renewal of 10-year, 2 10-year periods with a 10-year term. So
I think that was in there. It's in there already.
30 years, huh?
It's in there already.
What is?
It says 30 years
Yeah,
with
no,
2 10.
there's 30 years.
And then it
but there
says
was
2
some
10-year
tweaks.
renewals.
Yeah,
There's one
some
more.
Other language on
Yeah.
the easements and the life of the easements lawyer. The lawyer for Enterprise had one more tweak, and of course, we're going back and forth. I think we finally agreed to that. So subject to that one tweak in the easement language, this is final. So
Make a motion.
Move to approve it.
Okay.
All in favor?
All right. Aye.
Okay.
Can we adjourn now?
Are they changing the line?
Adjourn now?
Well, that's it. All right, so now we're getting to preliminary tree discussion.
Oh, wait, so don't we have the access to the road easement?
That's next.
Yeah, that's E.
what I'm gonna ask for this, because obviously it's not gonna be solved in one meeting, is to schedule a workshop and just discuss trees, all trees, easement, street trees, CROA, because CROA is a little confused on their responsibility when it comes to trees and what they're not responsible
Around their
for.
properties and parks.
So I think asking someone from CROA to attend that workshop as well, so everybody's on the same page with what we're discussing, because there seems to be a lot of confusion around
Yeah,
the whole
and-
tree thing.
And so obviously we have our piece in terms of preserve areas. And we want to incorporate everything to go ahead and talk about, okay, we already know our front, the front of the house tree policy. We want to incorporate a complete tree policy, and just like you said, we want to have clear graphics. You're responsible for this height, I mean, really lay it out as simple as possible, so people can look at it and go, I got it, right, without getting so wordy confusion. But the thing that has happened recently is CROA doesn't understand that even though we own the easements, they do have to maintain the trees around their common areas. That is always existed. We have maps that actually define all
You mean
that.
like in the surface areas?
No, so in front of like Spring
Oh,
Park,
the parks playground.
because Disney incorporated all those areas as part of the park. So in Island Village, the area in front of
How
there.
are they suddenly not knowing that?
Because Grand Manners doesn't, the transfer of information from CCMC to Grand Manners never happened. So they just said, oh, it's your easement, we're not gonna do it. They left crosswalks that residents couldn't access for weeks after the storm. And we finally went in and cut them because they just weren't gonna do it.
Yeah.
They just weren't gonna do it. And so I really think that has to happen, because otherwise, you know, we have all the maps that clearly show all this stuff.
Well, and I would assume their property records say the same thing with.
They're not reading. They're not reading.
I
I've seen
understand that, but
the
they say the
maps.
same thing, yeah.
Yeah, they clearly show those areas of responsibility, but then when after a storm, there's delayed response, because they're like, I mean, there's still stuff.
I'm not even worried about a storm, I'm just worried about regular maintenance.
They're
They're just saying they haven't been doing it?
there's a big tree in Aquila Reserve. It's around the Crow Park. Oh, they're just left it there. And everybody responds to it, and it's like, you know.
So I hate to ask this question out loud, but I got to, is this us deciding and informing them afterwards and just asking them to attend so they can listen, or is this a joint meeting?
No, it's not a joint meeting.
It's not a
Okay,
joint
It's
meeting.
not option A, I just want to make sure we're.
Yeah, no joint
Okay.
meetings. No.
Okay.
No, this is not a joint meeting. This is
This is
our.
us saying.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what this is. And then we can clear it up, because what happens is we have too much variations on. Oh, okay, we'll do yours and not yours. And we need to eliminate that. This should be a policy. It's cut and dry. We know what we're getting into, and that's what we need to do. And Jan, I think it's important for Jan to attend, because I do, let me explain why. There's legalities with sick trees, dead trees, this, that. I need that really cleared up, or we can at least say, can we get clarification of that ahead of time?
Tree lines.
I really want to make sure we're on top of this, because this is a big problem.
Awesome. The other thing before we move on for this, so what I would ask, I know the holidays are coming, so maybe at the December meeting, if everybody can kind of come with their schedule and see if we can't, I know we're getting into budget season as well, we'll be scheduling those, but if we could find a time that we can do a tree workshop, that would be fantastic. The other thing is Mrs. Milham, who was here. Staff did go out there, and it was determined, were any trees determined that needed to come out? I know you took United out there, so
She has a down oak tree. It's been dead for a while, I think, Russ. Is that the one that's leaning against the one tree?
I don't know if that's the dog cover right next to it, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's a dead tree that can probably come out of it.
Yeah, there's.
One that's her big concern, she can prune that. I would think if she picked me out in the hallway and said, I'm not pruning that tree, but it's not my.
no, what she wanted is for us to remove one tree, and while we're there to
Trim,
to
yeah.
trim her other.
So I went out there and I already told her what that policy is, because at any time that tree can be trimmed. The question is, the other gentleman said there was another dead tree.
It's not dead, but it's about 50 feet, 60 foot.
So even if it fell, it's not gonna hit anybody's property.
Big around. It doesn't have all that many leaves on it, so it is deteriorating a little bit. It's not gonna blow over because there's nothing to push and blow it over, it's just gonna fall apart. Year after year, like all the other ones do.
Is it in danger of hitting anybody's property? No? So again, if we were to cut that down, I mean, it's a large tree, so there's gonna be a large expense to it, but if it's not, if it's not a hazard to any property,
And if
then.
it's in a conservation area, it has to be dead or dying before we can take it
Yeah.
out.
Well, your question makes me beg the counter question. If it was hypothetically a danger to somebody's property, do we have a responsibility for it?
If it's dead and could fall over, absolutely we do. If we've been put on notice for it, yeah,
Why does it, I'm just asking, why does it have to be dead
If it's in
maybe
the,
gonna?
because in the
if it's
conservation,
in
we
conservation,
can't remove stuff.
we can't remove it, we have to ask and show expedient circumstances that.
Of why,
You just gave me 30 other questions that I'll hold until we get
Yes.
the workshop.
Yeah, as I say, tree law is fun because
And-
there's the
and-
conservation areas.
And that's why we need the
Huge
workshop,
problem.
because this is not, it sounds cut and dry. until you
and
start getting
it's
into the
not,
weeds.
and the other thing she brought
I like
up
when it
is.
comes there, too.
There are
Yeah.
other areas in celebration, and there's a ton, miles and miles of conservation. And we do not maintain those areas. We don't go out and inspect them regularly. There's too much of them to do that, so.
And another thing to add to the workshop is. Homeowners have gone into the preserve
Mhm.
and pushed it back.
Yep,
Yeah.
And they've created roads and everything, and there is a fine to the company who signs it, and people need to know they can't do that. That's,
Yeah, they can go to jail. I mean, that's major. Fines.
Right.
The
Yeah.
fines come to the CDD as well.
right, we have 2 properties that have done that.
Yep.
So anyways,
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So, Tom, what is our action then with that dead tree? Are we doing anything about it or not?
so, one of the things with these, we're gonna go with staff's recommendation. We can discuss, for example, if we, the options of hiring. An independent arborist to go ahead and inspect it. There's many different avenues for all these things.
If
right?
there's an immediate threat, and we're not obligated to do anything right now. I would suggest we wait until the workshop. That way it just gets rolled in with whatever we decide.
Because it needs to be consistent.
didn't United, what'd they say?
Same thing as.
It didn't need to come out?
That they said the same thing.
Okay.
Oh, okay, well,
Everybody
then-
else-
United also has a disclaimer, we're not certified arborists.
oh,
Both us have it.
okay,
Right, so that is.
That's different.
That is a separate thing for us to,
We should get a certified arborist
Correct.
when we have a
correct.
repeated complaints from someone.
I thought part of our contract with United specifically called out for a certified arborist when we called them out.
I'd have
pretty
I
to-
sure-
second that.
So,
I'm pretty sure we put in lane, because that was the whole reason we dropped Tom
I would
Covers.
imagine they
Right.
had one, they just have. to
Yeah,
figure it
I
out.
think we just have to request one of them.
yeah.
Can we?
I don't think they have one out here every day, but if we have a
No.
tree issue, they bring out.
We need to
an
make sure we're getting a
arborist,
certified
Yeah,
arborist as part of the response.
and I think they do. We just have to request it.
Can
And
we-
Harry's getting his arbor license soon, so he'll be able to help out in that area.
I'm about ready.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so
Well,
tired.
then, don't we have an immediate action to get an arborist to make that determination for this particular issue?
Yeah,
We have to go back out there with an
let's
arborist.
get an arborist out there.
And if
With
it's-
2 people
yeah.
commenting, we should. Sorry.
Okay. All right, Duke Energy Act.
So, before that, we'll just look at the contract and see what it says, but we do need to get an arborist. Out there, so.
Yeah. I'll call.
Okay. Got it. All right, so next is Duke Energy access easement.
This is an easy one, and Dave was the only one with a question, and he's not here. So we have a map. This is next to the high school.
Dave Hume, he's right there.
I know, but he.
Hello?
can't see.
Oh, he's.
I brought pictures. to ask about the question. This is,
Where is this located?
this is next to the high school,
Yes,
and if you look down, there's a brown stripe that goes straight down. And that's the Duke Energy, that big brown stripe that goes straight through is the Duke Energy easement. Somehow when the high school got built, the pond got expanded, so Duke can't get to this anymore. So they've asked for access along here. Mark's been working with them for about a year to get through this. And we finally got access easement that we can live with, so we would recommend granting it to them, because they do have this here, and there's just conservation land, so there's nothing that's.
Did we have to go with water management to get this approved? Or anything, nothing?
No, I don't think so. It's a CDD contractor just utilizing the berm around the pond for access to the opposite side of the pond. The power lines aren't currently follow that easement, the power lines go over the pond.
Yeah,
Okay,
and they can't get to it anyway, so they asked, Mark looked at it and okayed the maps and all, and we rewrote their easement to make sure they don't damage anything and do all the typical things that we asked for in the easement, and they agreed to it. So
So
comply with all
approve
laws.
this thing?
Yeah.
Move to approve it.
Second.
Quick discussion.
Yeah.
Is,
Well, you can do
is
a
this
second.
yeah, now that we got a second, remind, I don't have it in front of me, Jan, is this exclusive or non-exclusive easement?
I think non-exclusive. I will double check. It should be
Should be
non-exclusive.
not.
Yeah, it is non-exclusive. We added that in. It's in the
All right,
second
good.
paragraph. We try to
And
make it
then
so.
the reason I asked about the location was, if I remember correctly, there was a provision there that they can eliminate any tree that can fall within 10 feet of the easement. That's a very large radius.
Yes,
So we just want to make sure there isn't any trees we want to exclude from that.
it does not appear so from the location.
Could
have
we
the-
exclude it even if we wanted to the point?
Probably not. I mean, it's a big easement and they agreed to 90% of what we asked for. I mean, the fact we have the pond on one side and trees on the other, they've got to get trucks back there to access the utility lines, and I would think if we had a storm, we'd want them to be able to access.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those lines. They're really pushing to get it done, because it's taken a long time and they're a little worried they can't get to that tract.
Tell them we'll approve it if they up it to 8% instead of 6%.
Yeah, good luck. Good
Yeah.
luck.
Jack will
We,
throw us down here.
we asked a number of times and even checked.
I'm
public
not giving
records
my
to make sure
statue.
nobody got more than 6.
Any other
Okay.
discussion?
No further questions.
All right,
Right.
all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Uh,
Opposed? Okay. District manager.
I don't have anything other than stuff I've gone over, Harry, unless you want me to do it with the change order with sidewalk stuff.
Yeah, you can start the discussion.
And this will take you right into your field discussion. So currently, we are approved to do X amount of sidewalk by the end of the fiscal year. And what that has been done is North Village, right? So we're doing North Village. And there are other areas that come up. One, as of late, came up where a little boy was going on his scooter, hit a sidewalk and broke his tooth. And
This is
so,
not something, I'm sorry, we had not yet fixed or?
no,
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
no, because we're in North
Those
Village.
are
That's what we
South Village.
contracted to do. So as my point is, these areas are gonna come up where they are a safety hazard. So anything above 3 panels becomes a project, right? Anything 3 panels and below, your staff here can do that, and they have been doing it for years. If all the grinding and any panel replacements, 3 panels or less, they can do with the staff. So these are obviously bigger projects that have to be done. So my question is, and a little bit of board direction is, so if we pull off in North Village and we go and do this one that we did, and we're obviously treating it as a change order, but you need to tell me how you want to treat that. If it's a change order against the line that we're budgeted for, that's fine, but we're taking away from North Village, right? We're going to be short completing North Village because we've completed this area over here and that area, and then we're going back to North Village. Or we provide a change order and the district decides, where the extra funds are going to come from. Like right now, this change order that we did where the kid hit the thing, it's about $9,000.
Because you've added it on top of.
It's totally separate. We're keeping them separate. And that's this, we've only done one, this section that the kid fell. And before we go and do anything else, I want to make sure I've got some direction, how you want me to, or Carrie to quantify that. Are we going to keep it as a change order against the existing amount, which means North Village will be shorted, right? With the amount we're supposed to complete,
Will it take
or
longer?
exactly, or we keep you up to date with, hey, we just had a change order like this one, it's 9,000.
As an allowance?
I'm
or
sorry?
Was it quantified specifically in North Village or is it
Yes.
an allowance?
It's a budgeted amount that said, okay,
Specifically tied to area.
that is correct.
It's not an allowance.
No.
I just don't.
Yeah, no, that, so what they did is they approved work and they approved a number. 585 or 500, whatever it was, $1,000. And so we went out and said, okay, for this budgeted amount that the board wants to budget, we can do this section, right? So it was all in North Village for that amount, but if we get pulled off and do these other areas for safety reasons, how do we want to do that? Do we want to put it up against that budgeted number and short North Village, right, until the next go around? Or do you want us to keep you updated and you all decide, okay, keep that as a separate change order, keep going with North Village, and this one's 9,000 and you pay it out of reserves, or however you want to do it. So I just need some direction. Right now,
Hey,
we're
Angel?
keeping it completely separate. Yep.
So I recall having this discussion when we were going into it, and we eliminated the previous line item, or almost eliminated.
Yeah,
Where we were-
50,000.
Yeah, we got rid of that. And the reason we got rid of it, the rationale was that all concrete repairs, to include anything outside of North Village, was going to be included in this amount. If other contingencies came up, it would still come from that amount, and we would do less in North Village or we'd extend. I was pretty clear on that understanding for this particular type of instance, that we would not add to it. It was all going to be part of that bucket.
Okay, that's fine. So that's how we want to do it moving forward. And North Village will just be short, but we'll stay in that budgeted amount,
Well,
correct?
well,
It's not short. It'll still be done. It's just that.
Well, it's not going to be
extended timeframe.
done. It's not going to be done this fiscal year with that amount that was budgeted.
Well,
But it was a spitball anyway. We thought maybe we could, maybe we couldn't.
Right.
where do we stand anyway as far as dollars against the current work that's been done?
Yeah, so there's a document that I put in there, updating the contract.
Yeah,
The change order request that I have in there, the 9,000 is not part of the total that we've already spent. So you have spent 15% of the budget so far, about $88,000.
right, what,
After we did a 4-day, 31 panels, we got a 4-day. So that 88,000 is in the 4 that we.
what percentage of the work have we done though?
Hold on a second. Can we just keep the volume down? Because it's just hard to hear.
So Carrie, what
Everyone's fine.
percentage of work,
Thank you.
work have we done?
About
that
15%.
So we're just right on line then,
Mhm.
okay.
so I'd ask two questions. One, and Dave's reminding me that we changed the budget. So we totally eliminated the line item where.
We
where
didn't
Russ-
eliminate
we
it.
left
We dropped
50,000 in
it to 50,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there is, within our budget, we've gone over and we've always gone under on other ones.
Yes.
So my first question would be, why can we not simply address that as a one-off? My understanding of the North Village project was, here's a project.
That's right.
We're not playing in and out of that. Here's the project.
For this
Anything-
amount. Mhm.
Anything else outside of North Village was still gonna be addressed by the traditional staff that was not the
Mhm.
project-based staff.
That's correct.
Why can we not simply just do that and say, hey, North Village stays intact as it is?
We
And go
do.
address this with.
We do, and we are, but the
Okay.
problem comes in, like this particular area that we did was how many
10
panels? Yeah, it was
3
10,
trees.
yeah,
The two guys that.
Mhm.
were left
Your staff
in
can't
there,
do that.
They'd have been there for.
and we never
A month.
have.
Yeah, because the 50,000
Right.
was.
For grinding and stuff.
It was 1 or 2 panels here and there.
Right.
That's what it
Right.
was designed to do.
It's what it's designed to do, but
Right.
at the end of the day, if we say, hey, listen, I wanna take these two guys, and understanding it may take 30 days, if we think it's critical, we can still take those two guys and say, go fix the 10 panels, understanding you're gonna be out there for a while.
We can't do that. Well, we can, actually, if you want to leave panels open for X amount of time, which y'all told us you did not want to do because
Well,
it's a safety
And
hazard.
we haven't really had a choice, because either
Yeah.
way, we've been opening these panels up when we leave. I mean, so we're still doing that anyway.
Doing what?
We've still got,
The panels are open, but we just don't want them for an extended period.
That's
so-
the, yeah, we're not
Right.
leaving them open for an extended amount of time.
okay. It's because I guess, and this is gonna sound very insensitive, it's not intended to, we're being reactionary to an incident that happened.
This was
we-
also Halloween. We got it done before Halloween.
No, to the incident where the child got injured. we know this, we've said this on the record, we have got a large number of panels where somebody could trip and fall and get injured, and they have.
Mhm.
We know that, that's not a secret. We are being reactionary now to a single incident and redirecting resources on this one. Was there something, I mean, the sidewalk didn't change, it's been like that, it just happened that a kid unfortunately fell and
I see
hurt.
what you're saying, so I
But-
guess really what you're asking is.
Why are we jumping to this one
is-
now?
Is the reason we went ahead and did this because, you know, if we address this. From a legal perspective, from a court perspective, there was an advantage for us to go ahead and fix this now.
It doesn't alleviate the fact that a child got injured.
Correct, but you can see what I'm saying? I'm not saying this wasn't a dangerous spot and shouldn't be fixed. But I think that's your question.
Because tomorrow, when somebody goes out and trips and falls on another one, are we now gonna jump to this one, and now we're gonna keep back to the thing where we're hopping? Or are we staying to
Yes.
the project that we have?
No,
Okay, well,
these have to be
I mean,
addressed.
would it not be
That's,
critically negligent if you know there's an
Yes.
issue and you don't go back? and-
So-
Exactly. If somebody
Yes.
falls and hurts
I
themselves.
mean,
Well,
And that's-
you open yourself
Because-
up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
but I agree with that, but the point being, we have determined and we have publicly said as a board, we know there are, how many panels right now need to get fixed? 1,000?
oh,
On board.
there's so, yeah,
Okay.
so many.
So the fact that in our budget, we did not budget to fix 5,000 panels immediately. I don't wanna say we're critically negligent, but where's the line? We're now reacting to an incident after.
It's apples and oranges. Yeah.
React to the incident, you're doubly mad.
That's right.
You're,
You know,
in the game,
When
you
the
can't.
second
We-
person gets hurt, then,
Yeah.
then we.
We have a plan and we're sticking to that plan, but unfortunately, there's going to be issues like this that come up. And when they're brought to our attention, when a parent calls and says, hey, my kid broke his tooth,
Mhm.
we have to go and address it. We may have
And just
another,
For the record,
I don't
I
know.
totally understand. I'm not
yes,
trying to be
but
unsympathetic. to
my
that. I'm
thing
just-
is, there's
how do we
going to
respond as an
be,
organization?
there's going to be more of those issues that come up.
Mhm.
And we can't simply say, we have a plan. We'll get there when we get there, because if it's pointed out to us, now it's been brought out, we have to go and address it.
You know, I think we need to look at the big picture. This is a
Mhm.
5-year project. Okay?
Yes.
It doesn't say that we have to have North Village done this year.
No, and that's
Okay,
why we're having
and
this
that's what I'm saying.
discussion.
You have $580,000 set aside for North Village. If we use 480,000 for North Village and 80,000 for
Mhm.
someplace else, and we have to come back for North Village the following year, fine.
Well, and
Not a problem.
that's the direction that's the point of this conversation is you all need to tell us what you want us to do, because again, there's
But
going
you're-
to be
I-
other areas we
I
have
think
to
your
pull off
limit is that-
into.
Your limit is what we contracted for plus the $50,000 and figure it out how you're gonna do it. We're not gonna give you more money.
All right, so we have roughly about 900 and something $1,000 to work with to get done, whatever we need to get done within this
this
fiscal
phase.
year.
And
Okay.
if we get more than North Village into more than North Village, fine. If we get less, we'll pick it up next year.
Well, and then the other benefit too, with all that, is that we can take the information that we got this year. And then when we do budgets, we're like, okay, we were too low, we had it, or we're too high, whatever, we would go and reassess at that's the next
Yeah.
budget, right? I mean, that's.
That was the discussion.
That-
I've
that's-
got separate comments for that later in the meeting, but yes, that was the discussion of budget.
As long as we're talking about this, we had identified the panel in North Village that needed to be replaced. That is, we like we'll pop two. And then you see this third one, collapsed underneath.
Right,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna get adjustments.
We are at 115 panels and we probably added maybe 10, 11.
So,
maybe.
so is
We're
it,
about a 10% rate when we're adding panels as we're popping. panels that we
so
do and-
what I think I'm hearing is a blanket statement, correct me if I'm wrong, we're telling staff. Keep with the North Village project within the dollar amount, but at staff's discretion, as incidents may happen, is their best judgment.
Prioritize.
Yes, that's.
And I don't think those need to come back to us.
No, I just
Yeah.
want you to be aware at the end of the project, when we come back and say,
We'll know
hey,
why.
We didn't finish.
this is why we didn't
Yeah.
complete North Village, because we did this, and this, and
I think we understand that.
we'll add in that 50,000 to this number as well, if it's needed.
What's the risk criterion of?
The what?
Becomes a problem, I mean, is it?
It's a quarter of an inch.
88.
Mhm.
Angel?
You
Yes,
go on
sir.
Celebration Boulevard and it's a roller coaster around there, I mean.
Yeah.
I could get airborne.
That's,
It's a fact.
I've seen it.
I'm on it 4 times a week.
yes, Dave?
Angel, point of clarification though, you keep on, we're talking about popping panels, but we still have the option to grind where necessary, right?
Oh, absolutely. And we do that every day.
Just this scenario wasn't.
Yeah, this scenario was absolutely not a grinding situation. Yeah, if it can be grinded, Dave, they do that every single day. There's guys dedicated that go out and do that. That's all they do all day.
It's
All right.
on conversation, and I need to know how to capture that 10 grand.
Yeah.
That's why I listed it as the change order, and I said it's really a board discussion on how we move forward. with the
No, I get it, and especially with future costs, that applies, that's why we talked
Yep.
about it. Anything else?
That's all I had. They can handle the rest of the field.
Field manager.
I have questions for Mr.
Oh,
Oh.
do you have,
I do, sir.
how many do you have?
Five.
Five.
I've got more.
I got
All
one.
right, all right. We'll start with Dave, and we'll
Yeah,
come back down here.
Why Dave? Why was that me?
Huh?
What am I,
He's not
child litter?
Yeah, I'll put you to sleep by then. Don't worry.
My questions have 9 subparts.
Can,
All right.
Angel, can you give me an update on the 313 building, roof and flooring and AV?
Strike one of my questions.
Oh, that's-
Update roof
so
and
it's
flooring,
For here.
And,
here.
yeah, and audio visual. What's the status?
audio visual. I got that one. Roof is we've signed, has Nash signed the contract?
I think they're waiting on some documentation.
Your contract for Nash roofing for the roof.
I think Jay did it, but I.
Okay.
No,
follow
we
up.
did have it and we've sent it to Allison Nash. She
Okay.
said that her staff is reviewing it and they will send the certificate of insurance and the signed contract. Then I can send it to the new chairman to sign.
So as soon as we get the contract
Oh,
back,
right,
they'll be
right.
ready. The flooring, the board decided we weren't gonna do the flooring until the roof was done.
Makes sense.
Yeah, quick note on the roof, once the contract's signed, they requested the 50% down payment.
Yes.
We had a conversation with them, we're here, and I said, once the contract is worked out, documentation is done, I make that request.
And we did figure out the warranty piece, right? They were actually.
Yes.
The same essentially as the other bid. Okay.
It's actually better.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
So that's the flooring and the roof. The audio visual, the camera system is scheduled for November 21st, 22nd, 25th, and 26th. The new conference room AV system was supposed to be installed on November 26th, but some of the equipment is on back order. They're working on finding a date of arrival for those two pieces, and then they'll let me know.
And
What are the
then,
dates again for the EV system?
The 21st, 22nd,
What month?
November, 21st, 22nd, 25th, and 26th.
this week.
Next question.
Are you done with the maps digitization project?
Seven more.
7 more maps or 7 more boxes?
Maps.
Got it.
All the boxes are done. All the records are done.
See, Tommy,
And-
too.
All those are on our SharePoint?
Brenda's gonna pull them over and start putting all of the documents going back. I think we initially put just some immediate stuff for you guys, but all of that will be pulled over. Brenda will start getting that pulled over and we'll provide Shell access to that
You
as well.
guys sent out link. I don't recall getting a SharePoint link.
I didn't get one.
I don't think.
Yep.
we ever-
Everybody got
Yeah.
one?
Everybody got
I-
one.
I didn't get one. And
You got one.
you don't love me.
I love you and
I
you
don't
got
think you
one.
do.
Brenda,
Lamar, could you resend?
Dave got it,
Let's
right,
just
Dave?
resend- yeah, let's-
Yep, mine works.
So Brenda, can you resend the link out to the board, including Shell?
Yes, I sure can. And I've got virtually all
Jan?
fiscal year 2024 documents on there, the rules, the agreements, everything that you've done recently this year. That is all on there. I will check it again. But yes, I will send that to all the board again and to Jan.
And then we'll start putting previous documents again, different fiscal years of just pertinent information that you all need to see. What else?
I am down to just one temporary open house sign in my garage that I need to drop off to you. So I think we're doing better.
No,
Alright.
no, we're not doing better.
Okay.
Not doing
No.
better.
Not
So-
big
Oh, wait,
questions.
wait, Dave's not done. Are you done, Dave?
Well, no, go ahead, Jack. What do you got with the temp signs?
I'm tired of seeing signs. Saw 12 signs on Sunday in North Village alone.
Well,
2
call-
more signs.
Call Dave and tell him to pick them
Don't
up.
walk on Sunday.
I wasn't walking, I was going to church, but other people should have been doing too, but I'm saying
What is Charles? I haven't seen a reply from
Charles,
Charles from you.
you won't see one either because he hadn't responded back to my last 2 emails.
Oh, okay.
So I just sent it to you just so you'd see it, but we have a problem because Crow is not doing their job Surprise.
They refuse to work on the weekend.
Well, surprise. So here's my issue.
That's Grand Manners has refused to work on the weekend,
If-
so that's when all the signs are happening.
At some point in time, if we can't get a resolution, they're violating our rules. And as homeowners doing this, I would propose that we fine or make an assessment to CROA for
Right,
removal
can't-
of these signs.
So before we move forward with that, can we do that?
No.
Okay.
What can we do then?
I vote we do it anyway.
We do have staff on the weekend and they do go pick up as many as, I mean, they have other
Yeah, but
things that they're responsible.
Our staff is paid
but
for to doing our
Yeah,
things,
they
not
are,
their
but
things.
If they see those signs, they pick them up.
Could certainly make a demand that they pay for 3 hours of our staff.
Then let's make a demand that we pay for our staff. Do something because
I know.
Well,
Yeah.
the problem is that it's a combination of issues. It keeps growing and growing.
well, the week before I had 18 signs.
And we're, and as homeowners, we're paying for the service we're not getting. So,
You're right.
so be it.
So what is our solution to get CROA doing their job?
Don't look at me on.
Dan
that.
just
I've been-
gave you
I've been-
one.
I've been going to church and praying. It hasn't worked.
I mean, since they don't have staff on the weekends, why don't we respectfully ask if they would pay a portion of our staff's time?
Did we not
But, you know,
find out if our staff wants to work longer than they already are on the weekends?
No, it would be while they're here.
what they're already doing.
Yeah.
it would
Well,
be-
they see it while they're here.
They
pick it
do,
up.
I know, but she's saying
Yeah, but it's
technically
not
we're
our-
paying them to do other
Yeah.
items.
Us, our guys are, yeah, we're using our guys for other things, not for
What
CROA.
on Saturday and Sunday, they're just picking up doggy pots and trash.
Yes, but they're dedicated for something. You got them dedicated.
Yeah.
This is CROA's problem.
They're not
Right.
driving all the streets either, there's not a trash can down there.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
we don't
like
see all the
your
signs.
house and-
Well,
Um,
so
okay.
can we send a demand letter?
You want to send the first one, then I'll follow up.
Sure.
That,
Okay.
we've already communicated this to all the realtors, right?
No, you can't, because a lot of these realtors are not local.
Letter.
They're
Well-
not in Celebration.
The signs I picked up are local.
Well, the ones I've picked up are not in Celebration.
Okay, well, for,
This
Well, the
person,
signs are in celebration, the
yeah,
realtors aren't.
the realtors from
I
Window.
didn't want him to drive up, all the things that
Guys,
Old
we're,
Town
we're,
is taking up all the
we're,
signs.
we're repeating last meeting, the task to staff on that one was when we get signs in. They were gonna call the phone numbers for the signs that are getting recovered.
Right.
And they're
Whether
doing
in
that.
town or not.
They're
Yeah,
they're doing
some of them,
Yeah.
some of
are
them
they
actually
being
have
receptive
no.
or?
Oh, they're not even
Names on
picking them up.
Yeah, sometimes all it gets for sale or open house.
Right, some of
Yeah.
them no names on a lot of
Okay.
these. They got them sneaky.
We started collection and then Dave added like 30 signs to that collection. From his garage.
Why'd you resell them?
So are we doing do we do a board competition now? Who can collect the most?
I'm
between the-
thinking-
I ain't doing.
We should.
got a head start.
No, Chairman, you can be the sign picker.
Okay, anything else, Jack?
Sign
No.
picker.
Not on this sign.
Not
I have my own thing I want to talk about.
Well, this
Okay.
is your chance.
What's
For
your-
us, item 21, it's page 116, says 1119 Celebration Avenue, says Sydenham. What is that?
What?
What is that?
Sydenham? I don't know.
I don't know what it is.
Could you tell us which page it is?
It's page 116.
Yeah, item number 21. Assigned to CDD site. I don't know what that means.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I don't know.
It's a type.
What
Yeah,
is that?
I mean, clearly it's a typo, but I don't.
Pause stand, I like the pause stand, it's something a dog does.
Is that, no, it's not Post, it's Sydenham. I don't know what it is.
What's paw stand grind?
No, Postan is a street,
Probably supposed to
Oh.
say like side of house.
Yeah, that's in the street.
side of house.
That's what I'm guessing.
Autocorrect.
Okay,
Autocorrect.
all right, well then,
I love it.
whatever
Okay.
it was. I'm done.
I was gonna say more brilliant questions. Greg, please.
All right, what's your question?
I don't
Greg?
have brilliant ones, but I have two less because Dave asked
Okay.
me. FEMA status, how are we doing on submitting everything and applications and all that? sort of-
Brenda,
Yeah.
you're on mute. Oh,
Sorry,
there you
yeah.
are.
Sorry, I had to find my unmute button. I have had a meeting yesterday, the first of many, where we just start the process. We get our request in. I have a meeting December 3rd to go through the damage, and basically it's just debris. So we're going to put this on what they call a streamlined process, so it should take faster. But that is where we are in the process.
And did we get it submitted early enough? I know it was a declining scale. The later you go, the less you get.
Yeah.
So we got
Well,
it.
they,
100%
they all have to, if we are going to make a claim for reimbursement, a request, it has to be in by December, I think December 20. What the scale is, if we get all the debris cleaned up and removed by, I think it's 30 or 45 days, then it's covered at 100%. It's not when we make the request, it's when the work is complete.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Got it.
So
So
the
we were
request was made
clearly-
early and we are in process.
Yep.
Okay. All right, cool. And I will say as a side comment, Orlando Sentinel has now put out 2 articles about how Orange County is still figuring out how to get debris. So for anybody who's complaining about it takes too long, don't move to Orange County.
Agreed. Hillsborough is the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
Osceola still has piles out.
Go ahead.
Next,
Pond vendor, as of the last meeting, they had 30 days to find Jesus.
I'm,
They're supposed to be here tonight. I had a
And they're
conversation
not.
with them. It's on my list to kill a loop. I've been monitoring that. They have.
I was there today, I was gonna mention it,
Yeah.
it's starting to bloom. Not a good bloom.
Can we go back to the RFP discussion, have an RFP, pending the board's consensus, an RFP for our consideration at the next meeting?
well, we just did it. There's not anything you need to change in the RFP. So what I would ask is that you make a motion to authorize staff to go out for RFP and we have your proposals by your December meeting.
My issue I have with the RFP is the same issue I had 2 months ago. I have not been told what's different with this RFP, that we're now going to not have a 5th vendor that we're firing.
There's nothing different.
And that's I still don't know what's going wrong with our vendors.
So we have a
And-
vendor we've never used before.
Well, at this point, I gotta look and say the only consistent thing in all these is us.
We don't treat the bonds.
No, I'm saying how we're
So-
handling this.
Handling what?
I don't know.
We
Between the
have
contracts.
meetings. He's
So-
sitting right there. He's
Yeah,
been a part of them.
I am sitting right here, thanks, Angel. I didn't see that. What's wrong with you guys? So, you know what, the first vendor is that we got was unresponsive, yeah, we'll be there. They were at every meeting.
Mhm.
But, I mean, literally, we go out with them, I spend like 2 hours, 2.5 hours walking with them. This. Oh, we'll get to it, whatever, 3 months later, you haven't gotten to it yet, what's going on? They're not earning their pay. We go to another vendor. Yes, we can do this, we can handle it, no problem, they know what it is, here's the price, everything else, great. We go out with them, these are the major areas of concern. No. Listen, and then all of a sudden, oh, you got the salesperson, now you gotta have to talk to this person, oh, it's been fine talking to these people, right?
Which still blows
We
my
go,
mind.
I spend another 3 hours going around town saying this. This is the level we're expecting, this is what we're concerned about, everything else, great. You know, he was at the last meeting, yes, we're gonna do all this stuff, really want you to not look at RP, cause great. That should have been here tonight,
Yes.
they're starting to have some blooms,
How are we having a bloom in November?
it's happening, I
Yeah.
went to.
A rhetorical question, I'm sorry, I
Right,
just.
but the thing is that at the end of the day, it's not our job to go ahead and know the chemical composition of these ponds.
No.
It's the vendor. And I mean, either every vendor stinks, right? Or these vendors just don't want to do the job. We got the contract and we're done.
Or are our expectation, and I say this cautiously, are our expectations too high? I don't think it's too high of an expectation that we should have known from the vendor who the hell we should have been talking to for 6 months.
Well, you're gonna have algae blooms, that happens. You're gonna have fish kills, it happens during different times of the year, but. Letting it and not being responsive and letting them get out of control, that's a different story. And that's what we've had. So to answer your question, the common denominator may be staff, but it's our job to evaluate what they're doing after we have meetings with them,
Mhm.
after we talk to them, and then come back and tell you.
And
That-
when I said us,
No, no, no.
I'm talking about the board. I'm not talking
No,
about
no,
you guys. 'Cause
I'm
I know
talking
you
about
guys are doing.
staff because.
But I'm saying how we're reacting to this as a board, my frustration is. I feel like we're missing out on something that we should be doing. Are we not allocating enough in the budget? I haven't seen a proposal that came back that was
We didn't,
$50,000
if you
higher.
remember though,
They
the
all came in
last
the same
two,
price.
no, but the last two, we didn't dictate the budget line. They
We just
came
said,
in
tell us what the bid,
above
yeah.
what we actually budgeted.
And that's my frustration.
So-
If somebody came back with a $200,000 bid and we accepted the 125, I'd look back and say, we should have considered the 200,000.
Correct.
That never even came in,
No.
and that's my frustration. I honestly don't know what we need to do different.
You guys didn't stick to budget at all. It was who could provide the best service, and that's who we went with.
And listen, where I work, I'm attached to multiple projects, right? I'm usually at the primary in half of them, secondary in all of them. I can't go ahead and make a meeting. I make sure my secondary is there, fully informed to go ahead and discuss. We're expecting them to be here tonight, just to keep that relationship going, tell us what's going on, these are the areas, no, we have, which is what happened 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Was he supposed to be here tonight?
I talked to him 2 weeks ago, he guaranteed me the tutorial shop on Keel would be done.
It's not done.
it's not touched.
Well, it's dead. That's as far as they
No,
got.
and
But no
done is
removal.
done, it needs to be gone.
He told me
Yeah.
it would be all cleaned up and they would start planting.
So
by
he,
the board.
when you say it's dead, they did treat it.
So yeah, they've done the first part of it.
Some cleanup, but there is a lot of dead debris that is still there.
Oh, a lot, if you look at it,
So
I
they
just
did
know
the
that they're driving
treatment.
by 2 minutes, I can't understand that's not.
Well, they did the treatment part. So now it's the removal part, which should have already been done.
But you said planting was gonna be completed by when?
This board meeting.
This board meeting.
Yeah.
Well, it's not over yet, so maybe if I drive it out again.
Could be, yeah, they're out planting.
Yeah. that's what they're doing.
So again, staff's recommendation would be for the board to authorize staff to go out to RFP and have proposals back to the board for your December meeting, unless you want to give them another opportunity.
Do we require them to be at the meetings in the RFP?
Yes.
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
Yep, we absolutely do.
Especially when, you know, a member
At
of
least for the
management
first 6
says,
months. Yeah.
you're gonna be there, I guarantee it.
How many of those bubblers did you have to put in, and is that
I
a
think
recurring
we have
issue?
like 10 in
We
there.
put in about 10 or 12.
Is that sufficient? for-
It's. The
a
bubblers don't necessarily
multi-pronged-
algae thing.
Yeah, it's a
different thing.
multi-pronged
Right.
thing.
Part of the whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
It has,
It can't
I
help.
think it's helpful.
I think it has
But the
helped.
reality is, we can't get past. The pond folks actually treating everything. To get to the point where if we need more or whatever, we can't even get to that point
Well,
because
to your
it's just.
point, they're not coming in there saying that it's another $50,000
Yeah.
in bubblers, so.
Exactly.
well, and part of the reason I say that, guys, is we have had proposals from just about all of them. Saying that we need to do it wasn't dredging, but there was some separate chemical treatment, basically all the years of the nitrogen going down in there, that there's a layer of sludge. That they would need to, and that was, so it was either bubblers or it was these treatments. But we never did the treatments, and that's what I'm saying, is that on us, that, hey, is that really the root cause of why we're at where we're at? We just need to spend the money. It's not really the recurring maintenance piece, it's the one-time thing that we need to do after 25 years to get these things.
And listen, they mentioned it, you know, it'd be recommended, you're not sure. They're signing the contract to maintain the ponds.
And
We
they're,
give them that expectation.
Yeah.
I would have more respect for a vendor that came up and said, listen, I'm gonna give you an RFP, but unless you go ahead and do
Do
this thing on our
100%.
X,
ponds,
Y, and Z.
I can never withhold your, at least like, well, finally, somebody's telling me something.
these guys have committed enough mortal sins by not showing up tonight and not even knowing who to talk to, so I'm not worried about
Yeah.
that, but I am looking at, for the next vendor. It's $125,000 to $150,000 based on kind of what we've spent for a reasonable vendor. But I'm also suggesting in our budget, I mean, at the prices we were seeing per pond, I mean, it was $10,000 to $20,000 per pond.
Right.
To get some of these nitrogen treatments, depending on the size of the pond.
Mhm.
Well, and the thing is like anything, all right, let's do 2 or 3 ponds, let's see how it goes.
Mhm.
It didn't change a thing.
Well, we never did any of the nitrogen.
No,
treatments. Yeah.
but I'm saying.
But to
moving
try it,
forward,
100%.
you know, and that's how you kind of know, is this going to go ahead and work or not, rather than let's just blow the budget and
Yeah.
do them in all ponds.
Well, that's what we did with the aerators as well.
Right.
So what is staff recommendation? Do we give another chance or are they done?
I say authorize staff to go out to RFP. That's just my opinion. We've tried working with them. We've met with them. We've driven the community with them. Tom has driven the community with them. We've had numerous meetings with them here in this office in person. And
I think
then,
Infomark might have to provide me a car now,
yeah,
Yeah.
starting all over town.
and then Carrie specifically saying that he said, not only was a loop supposed to be done, planting's done, and then supposed to be at this meeting tonight and just did not show
Did
up.
we drop or who dropped? Did I ever see the video from us?
Yeah, you guys just dropped
Yeah.
your videos off.
Something wrong with that video,
That might be internet.
that camera.
So,
So anyways, that's our recommendation. But again, if the board, you already put them on a 30-day. Was what we did
Okay.
last.
Well, and I don't think we need to them on notice right now. We put an RFP out and we'll put them on notice when we decide what we're gonna do, would be my suggestion.
Well, let me give you an alternative because the proposals that we got are just from April. So I would think you would just go to the bidders and say, hey, is your bid still good? If not, can you please refresh? And we can look at those next meeting.
I thought we only got one other though. Thought we only had
No, we
two.
got 6.
No, we got a few.
We have one?
Yeah, we can do that too. You can always go, because it's not a formal RFP, it's under the threshold. So you could essentially reach out, or I reach out and ask them if they're holding their price and if they would mind coming to the next meeting and answering questions that you guys have instead of going through and putting it all back out on the street again.
Can you entertain?
Well, with the exception of Solitude, right? Would you not go back to Solitude?
Okay, so all of them except for Solitude?
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to,
Remember, Solitude dropped their number
I'm-
to try to
I'm
make it,
asking-
which was ridiculous.
The contractor who does the golf course ponds was in here Friday. Last week. Concerned about the condition of our ponds, and he was wanting to know if we were gonna go on RFP. Could you bid on it? Could you provide us a quote?
I can provide him the scope and ask him to bid on it to include in these other ones.
we just do both. Can we put it out for RFP and ask the other bidders? Since it's the same RFP, just ask them if they'll refresh their prices.
Sure.
Yeah, you wanna look at that?
Okay. So the intent is to have them here at the December meeting with the exception of Solitude to answer any questions the board has and you'll see their proposals prior
Well,
to.
And so my other question for you, since I'm thinking like your days at SIF talk. Do we need to look at a higher level? Are we looking at residential? Maybe we should be looking at bigger commercial. I don't say we have to be like Disney. But from your experience at SIF Todd, is there another level of vendor out there?
These are all commercial. They're not residential.
Okay,
And they do, Disney does it themselves,
okay.
that's all. I know.
Can we hire them? Never mind.
You can, but you'll have price increases.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So just careful.
they round up to the next million.
Yeah.
All right, so
I will get that
I will
done.
make a motion to do an RFP. Plus revisiting the other 5 bidders and anybody else who would choose to bid.
I'll second that. Nope, Shell seconded.
Oh,
Gotta give some credit.
The residents saying.
Okay.
It's algae bloom season.
Anything else, field manager?
I got one more question.
Oh, sorry.
for me or for them?
Oh, that's right.
Probably both. So and I had emailed you and thank you for sending out on this coyote thing. Can you maybe kind of take 10 seconds with where we're at, what we're doing, what we're not, just because the public is, so it's on the record, what we can and
So-
cannot do here.
Legally, we can't do anything about coyotes. What they do is if we get a report in about coyotes, alligators, whatever the instance is, we can reach out to FWC. Initially, what they will tell you is they will give you this information, which they did, of telling the residents, this is how you live with coyotes or what have you. Alligators are a little different, but coyotes, no. And so that's what we did. It has been reported. If they deem it a nuisance, they will come out and look and see if they can evaluate it. And if so, then they will issue us a permit for us to hire a trapper to come and remove it.
But they have to issue the permit.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They're the
I wanna
only-
be, I
yes.
want to be very
They're the
clear.
only ones.
We just can't do it on our
The
own.
standard is very, very high.
Yes.
There's been tons of pets.
Yeah.
In Orlando.
And they
tons of
still
pets
won't-
eaten,
won't
they
do
will
it.
not Do anything to get rid of them.
Because they're part of,
The ecosystem.
yeah, they're part of the whole thing. So what they do is send out that information like we put out of how you need to protect your pets and how you live with coyotes. So the criteria is very high where before they'll deem that a nuisance. And so if they do, they'll issue us a permit and then the district would have to hire a trapper to come.
They don't do trappers like they do with alligators.
No.
No,
Okay.
License.
nope. They will issue us a permit and then we would have to hire our own licensed bonded trapper to come out and
For us.
take them away. It will not
You okay
be-
there, Greg?
It will not be Russ or Todd doing it.
They're just saying that because you're in the room, Chris.
No.
We so smart not to do that.
So that's where it stands with the coyotes.
Thank you.
I do know they also have an option to come out, I think somebody posted that, they have an option to come out and do an informational type thing. But I know
Yep.
residents want action, but there's unfortunately no action to be had.
I wanted it on the record.
No, I get
Go
it,
back
I
and-
understand. Any other questions?
Not at this point, sir, thank you.
Not at this point, oh my gosh, all
I've
right.
been around for about a year and a half, but I know it. The coyotes.
Mm,
Wow, that's not, they've been 3 or 4 years.
Well, I mean, they've been like right here when we're eating lunch.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, no,
I mean, like
they. eat the
30
kids.
feet from us.
Or-
but did they have a napkin with the, oh, that's
No, that's-
wily.
Yeah.
okay.
All right, so. We have field manager now?
Yes.
We ever get there?
We kind of been there.
We're kind of been there,
I
but.
think we
there's
already did
questions.
that.
Yeah.
We're good, fine. Field council.
By the way, the tree trimming started the month before last.
Oh.
I think myself that they're doing a phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
This is the quadrant by quadrant. Tree trimming.
Well, we're.
Yeah, it's pretty- it is,
Not
it's-
really, this needs done, this needs.
Yeah,
done,
they're-
This needs done.
they have
it's
a
staying
list.
within budget.
Okay, but, so I'm sorry, this is not, we've got the one tree trimmer who's doing 1/4 of the town on a cycle every 4 years, and then we've got the one off. Which one is
We've
this?
got The Brightview trimming what needs to get trimmed, and it's almost all the other trees.
Well,
Okay,
that doesn't really answer the.
Have moved beyond the quarter. We can't go 4 years and not trim trees. At the way we were trimming them before. But if you look, I don't know if you drive on Jasmine Street, I mean, it's just like the way it should be.
Right.
It's good.
Which is-
Delia, all that, I mean, Dylan works with us, he's got a pole that's 17 foot tall, and he's with them on every tree.
so
Nope, you need to cut more of that. You need to cut that.
I'm good with that. My concern is the way we had contracted them was in the quadrant way, because,
So long as we don't go over budget.
well, but that wasn't broken down, as I recall, on a by tree basis. It was a flat fee every year. They charged us X amount of dollars, and they took these neighborhoods and these neighborhoods and these neighborhoods and these neighborhoods. So how are we tracking that we're getting our value, because now we're breaking it from neighborhoods and we're just saying, okay, go over and do these 50 trees, 100, how are we
I'm
tracking?
going with Doug with Brightview, their supervisor.
I'm not saying that they're not doing the work. That's not my
We're
question.
looking at every tree and pinning this one needs.
No, I think Greg's question though is that the contract was quadrant by quadrant.
We need to
and
stick
we
to
changed
that.
it.
Well, and that also was every tree in that quadrant.
Yes,
Yes.
80%, 70% of them don't need trim.
well, that wasn't what we were told 2 years ago when we contracted.
Not for me.
Well, that was the whole premise of it.
We need to stick to the contract. If we're in that quadrant and there's only 20 trees that need to be trimmed, that's fine.
We're gonna move on with that budget and do some more. rather than
That's fine, as long as you're sticking to the quadrants, though, the way that the
If,
contract.
well, and if we want to modify the contract, again, just my opinion, not
Right,
personal,
we can do
I'm
it.
okay doing that.
Let's modify. it.
But I want to understand what the
Yes.
methodology is to be sure that we're not asking too much and we're not getting too little.
Correct, agreed.
So who's got that? Is that you working with Russ to figure out how to modify that?
We're
or
gonna have to modify.
Okay, I'll talk to Russ and Angela and we'll figure out how to.
I remember my question from many years ago. Brenda mentioned when she was doing FEMA stuff of all the cleanup and everything else, but another thing I think that was brought up is aren't like cutting down trees or
Removals.
removals and stuff, is that part of?
Yep,
What do you-
removals is to a certain criteria, replacement is not.
No, I know replacement isn't, but I want to make sure that the removal was part of what she said, because she said about the collection, but not, okay, that's
Debris
fine,
and getting rid of it.
that's fine.
Yep.
And did we actually get everything out of the lot behind K5? Like everything's gone, the giant piles where we were compiling everything?
We still have some more.
Started.
Oh, haven't even started. I thought we had. Okay.
But those have to be completed by December.
Brenda, are you there?
I think we lost it.
Yes.
No, Brenda's-
No, I'm here.
What's the date everything has to be cleared off of the K5 lot?
December 3rd.
No, that's my next meeting. We've got, I don't know. I'd have to
For
look.
100% reimbursement, Brenda.
Right, I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to look at the. Let me open an email.
I just want to make sure
Talking
because
about
we're,
looking at-
well,
Oh,
we're
yeah,
doing
yeah.
the two-step, right? We removed it from the community. So
Correct,
we didn't remove it from the debris pile. And
And
which
that
one?
has
Correct.
where to go,
correct.
so.
And that has its own list of criteria that we have to do everything right so that we can be reimbursed, but, let me, while you guys keep talking, let me look that up and I'll tell you
Okay.
when I have to have
All
it.
right, thank you.
Excuse me, before everybody else is gone,
Oh.
can I,
Hold on, no, excuse me, is this, you might need to save it for owner comment period. We're not up to that point yet.
He keeps raising his hand and I did put a chat in there that public comment is over, so he will have to wait till the end.
Yeah. there'll
you're
be
right,
another-
I'm sorry, thank you,
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
No, hold on, we'll get to you. Do you have anything else?
I do, I have one update, so the outage on November 6th, about the hospital, we lost. Current count is 52 streetlights, not only the lamps, but photo cells. Long conversation with Duke, they're working on a reimbursement plan.
Okay.
I've got admins working on work orders, getting, because they wanted locations.
Sure,
So,
of course, of course.
Yeah.
Do we have a kind of sort of rough estimate as to when that area by the traffic light on Celebration Avenue and Celebration Boulevard is gonna not look like a train wreck? Or is that still a ways off?
That should be, we're hoping, well, got Thanksgiving rolling in, but.
Next 30 days,
Well,
hopefully.
they said like in the next couple of weeks, and that
Okay.
was a week ago.
Okay.
It's just, there's no point in touching it up, because they could show
Yeah,
up
they-
tomorrow,
they-
I gotta hurt all of that, which is what.
Yep.
Then the hurricane hit and they had to pull off.
Go back in there, yep.
Anything else? Legal counsel,
Nothing special, we covered it all,
engineer.
Nothing special here as well.
but I will give the shout out to our eminent domain attorney. Our eminent domain attorney, FDOT asked for an analysis if they don't, not taking our land, but they are gonna do some expansion and there would be some additional stormwater into some of our ponds. And Mark did a report of the analysis of our ponds, and he said it was one of the best reports he's ever seen, so.
So we get $1 billion, is that what it is?
We're working on, we're getting reimbursement for everything we've spent, and they're gonna.
Oh, that's good.
And they are gonna look at the one pond that Mark pointed out, maybe.
Okay.
We know it's something.
Thank you. Master planning updates.
So I do have a question here. We had, when we turned off Dick's Height a couple months ago, we had committed, we were in the, for about 90,000 roughly.
Dave can give you your update.
Dave has the update.
Yep.
Yep, I have their draft report. I got it, or we got it Friday and we're doing it now. We're gonna get I have some questions asked for it, and then they'll be prepared to present it for our December meeting.
Awesome.
Oh, great.
Yep, so it'll be on the agenda in December.
Okay. So I guess I'll throw my comment here because it's kind of master planning, but it's also kind of budget. So when we did the budget last time, and I had made it, and this is just one guy's opinion, when we did the sidewalk approval for the $700,000-800,000, and I made the comment that, we have done double-digit increases every year for the past 3 years. So all the, I'm gonna say it out loud, all the sins of the past, the things that we were not doing as a district, we have now been catching up on over the past 3 years, and people like it, people don't, but at least we're getting stuff done. I said at the last budget meeting, and I will still say, I'm not gonna support another double-digit increase to continue to tackle the sidewalks and put that cost solely on the residents of today. I think we need to take a look, and I know we've talked about a bond specifically for things like new development for a community center, other things. My intention with that, and that Jan and I talked about it briefly, was legally, if we could put other things into a bond that are more maintenance things, or if we had to do them as two separate bonds, which I realize we can't, we'd have to do them as separated things. I still think even though we are still kind of on hold in the ether a little bit on some of the land piece for development for new things, there are, in my mind, still things that we absolutely need to take a look at from a bond perspective for current infrastructure. I'm talking the $3 to $5 million for sidewalks. This year, we were supposed to be taking a look at boardwalks because we don't know the status of those and getting a structural engineer study. We just talked about ponds that I'm willing to bet if we get a really good, smart pond company out here, I'm willing to bet he's gonna come up with, I'll throw it out there. There's gonna be $1 million worth of things on those ponds to do before they get to a point where they are, I'll call it, to the celebration standard. We have got other existing infrastructure things that we need to get tackled that realistically we will never get to if we keep just saying every year 10%, 15%, 10%, 15%, and I don't think it's fair to the residents of today that we do that. I would like to, whether we want to do it as a workshop or however the board wants to discuss this. I would like to start talking soon about those things which we could put into a bond that are long-term maintenance items of the major infrastructure
The distinction
items.
is capital improvements.
Capital
not-
improvement,
not-
there you go.
Not maintenance. So
Not
it's,
maintenance.
you know, rebuilding the entire boardwalk.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
redoing
but-
all the sidewalks in the community. Those are like
Right.
major projects.
There's the key buzzword, capital improvement.
That's if we could 50% of the value, I mean, what's the criterion for what that is, because it's not gonna be taking everything.
Yeah, no, I'll have to talk to bond counsel from a tax perspective, but I mean, you gave me a good list of things that I can ask.
So, I don't disagree with that, I just think there's a lot of things to consider. But I also think that if we go down this path, if I was Joe residents. I think if we go down this path and say, okay, we're gonna keep dues low. Right, we're gonna get the fees increase, whatever that increase low, and we're gonna get bonds for all this stuff. I would think the perception is we're giving up bonds for any other improvements, we're just looking at capital improvements focused on our core business.
You're saying that you think if we do that, that we will be messaging that we are giving up on new stuff as a separate.
I don't think the community would go for, these types of capital improvements. And then additional capital improvements for buildings and stuff like that, they're gonna see two separate things.
Well, I think what Jan's saying though is, even if we had, so for example, let's use the community center because we've talked about it. Even if we had the land for the community center today, I don't think we could do a new community center or a new, what we were talking about doing with Kroger or any of that. In the same bond as a capital improvement bond of existing infrastructure, is that correct? We'd have to do them as two separate
You know, we
anyway.
could probably put them together. We
Okay.
Just need an engineer's report to lay out what the improvements are and how they're gonna get paid back.
I 100% agree with you. One, if we're gonna do this, I would prefer totally just to do this one time in one bond. But I also don't wanna, knowing that what was driving the bond discussion before was primarily a community center discussion and ball fields along with it. Knowing that we unfortunately have not made progress on that, and I understand there's still conversations sort of laying out there. We've got throw in there as well alleyways. Alleyways are another one that we just spent $225,000 for Artisan Park. Well, guess what? We did say roughly every 2 years, we're looking at every village going through and redoing the alleyways. So that's another capital thing I would throw in there to say, that's 7 villages, 8 villages, that's $1.5 million.
But see, the thing is, for me, there's, the alleyways have to get done, right? That has to be in that budget. There's things that we normally have to do. That I don't
There's
feel
not gonna
belong.
be some of these things you can do with a bond.
That's what I'm saying. There's some things we can't do. with
Paving
bond.
is,
Paving is
probably-
not.
I mean, if we
No.
have to rebuild them.
If we were gonna go
And I'm-
ahead.
Yeah.
I'm fine going
Just giving
down, my
ideas.
suggestion is I would like to have a conversation where we can put on a whiteboard, what's the list of all the stuff we think we
Needs to
would
be
like to
done.
see in a bond, and then you guys start telling us what's appropriate and what's not, and we start deciding what we want to do and whatnot. Because a lot of the items we're coming up on are big ticket items, where if we're gonna tackle any of these things, if we have to do alleyways as an example, if we have to do them out of our regular budget, I understand that, but that's now $250,000 on average per village that we're gonna do. That now is $250,000 that we're really not willing to do, because we've kind of created some caps in our mind as to how much we want to go up. What's $250,000 I'm not spending on sidewalks that we can do into a bond?
To Craig's point, there hasn't been a study, or maybe I have no idea, but there's a useful life for all these things.
Absolutely.
We have a reserve study. We have one.
I mean, you're well to the near end of that. I've been here 20 years, so I mean, I know you're there, so you can't accommodate that with increases. I don't care if you double, triple digit.
No, I agree,
So-
and it's, in the last couple of years, it's something that we've struggled with. And I think the community has struggled with, when you don't have proper increases and you don't do the proper maintenance, eventually it falls apart, and then,
Because guess what, in 2 years, we've got possibly 2 new board members, and the board takes a different opinion. I hate to say out loud that I want to commit future boards, but I want to commit that this district is going to do the right thing going forward and not be left with the problem we inherited when we.
Well,
came
and
in.
here's the dirty little secret, no matter who's on the board, when it falls apart, it falls apart.
Mhm.
And things are gonna fall apart, right? And you talk about one boardwalk, that's what, 1.5 million? oh, we had 3 boardwalks go down. Uh-oh, now we're at the 4.55 million, right? Because one was longer than the, okay. So now we're at that. So it doesn't matter who's on the board. The bill is gonna be there because there is a shelf life for everything.
Well, and to your question on the reserve study, yes, we did have numbers in there,
Mhm.
but I also remember we looked at those numbers and said, ooh, yeah, I'm not an engineer, but that was
All
wildly
the
off.
reserve study is a guide. That's all it is. It's just a guide that gives you some sort of idea, because if you remember, y'all weren't putting anything
Sure.
into reserves at all.
We were taking
What
out.
they were doing was their budget would go up every year and they were just taking money from savings. So the reserve study is purely a guide to kind of give you that estimate of what you should be putting aside for these things.
I'm just,
But that's a good place to start. to
It
look at the
is.
list
Right.
And say, okay, you're at the end of the useful life.
Right.
These are things we could.
The
I
numbers
just-
are always wonky, by the way.
I just comment on the reserve study because
Yeah.
I remember the one that stuck out with me. There was a 50-year expected life on sidewalks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Out of this plan.
Yeah,
Well, and again, these reserve studies, they don't take into account like street trees and
Exactly.
all of this. It's more asset driven
well,
with
their number
structures.
wasn't predicated on them coming out and saying, okay, it's Florida, it's more humidity, therefore you're gonna get more deterioration.
Right,
more
so
boardwalks,
it's
and
just a
It was
starting
just,
point.
hey, here's a number, everybody gets 50 years on
Yeah.
sidewalks.
It's just a starting point.
So I do think that's something that's a workshop that we're gonna have to look at. I think that's something because that's a deep discussion.
So I would,
Trees and that.
I would come to your December meeting with keeping in mind, we've got budget workshops to start. We typically start those about February. We schedule about 2 or 3 before we have to approve our tentative budget in May. Okay, that has to be done in May because your June meeting is past the deadline. So keep that in mind to schedule those. Also a tree workshop and then now a bond discussion workshop.
And don't forget, we're gonna have some sort of meeting to talk about hurricane preparedness, because we're not gonna do what we did the last time. We need to kind of develop a hardcore plan for residents, what we're gonna do and what we're not gonna do, because that was very taxing staff.
it was, and going back to the timing of this, both the tree one and in my mind, the bond one, again, I'm just advertised now what my thinking is. I mean, if we have to have a committed budget by May, we have
Mhm.
6 months, 7 months to
Yep.
have an entire bond conversation, you figure out that's
Oh, I understand.
That's
that's a lot of ground to cover
That's a January meeting.
or sooner. So.
Well, there is Christmas. I am gonna celebrate Christmas. That's okay with you.
You're gonna celebrate it here with us.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you're putting many more. So-
Okay,
Yeah.
moving on, liaisons.
Do we have any?
We don't have
liaisons?
liaisons, that's one of my comments. I need to reassign liaisons.
Yeah, so I almost want to ask to do that at the next meeting.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I think we should do that and have a little more clear amount of those. We're just gonna say, yeah, that's it. Any discussion items? You've had too many,
Yeah, he's
Jack?
over quota.
I'm
Anything?
good. I'm good.
Joe?
Nice.
Taking it in.
Dave, do you have anything addition?
No, my only question was, did we ever get that boardwalk fixed that had the structural engineer sent out there to look at?
Oh, that was in
Kia.
Killer Reserve.
We'll get it the next couple of weeks. We got kind of busy with the hurricane.
I heard about the hurricane. Okay,
I was
so,
told there was one.
well,
Number 2.
2.
all right, let me write that one down.
Speaking of hurricanes, real quick, our discussion, this should take 1 second. I would like to know how the board thinks that we did, and I'm not asking anyone.
You did a fabulous job.
Huh?
Y'all are
You did
amazing.
fabulous.
I gotta tell you, the fact that, 98% was done in 2 weeks was amazing.
You guys did
The
amazing.
staff, and listen, you had to take on additional waste when people kept adding stuff on
Yeah.
after you guys already passed, even though we say we're not gonna do that, hence the discussion. I really appreciate your team's work. It was phenomenal.
I will relay that to the team tomorrow morning.
Yeah, they did amazing. They did a really good job. Really good.
And Mr. Chairman, while we're on that subject, in order to receive 100% reimbursement for debris removal, we have to have everything done within 90 days. So we have time.
We're well
So,
ahead
so
of
what
that.
is that 90 days?
90 days from the submission date or the storm?
90 days from the date I requested reimbursement. So we've got like 85 days. It might be 90 days from yesterday.
Can you confirm? I want the date.
I will, yes.
I just want the date. That way I'll put
Russ,
that on my calendar.
Russ is just gonna make a
Correct.
bond.
I know.
That's all, that's not ours, though.
No, that's
That's all
gross.
pro
No.
us.
that's
No, I mean,
That's-
the big
Yeah,
pile over.
well, I
yeah.
saw that driving in today, I was like, oof.
I know. The young man up front. You have something?
You had
That's
to,
you.
no, you raised your hand.
I
Yeah.
did. I was raising my, trying to be polite.
You got 2 minutes.
Number one, last year we did a staff Christmas party.
Yes, thank you.
We erred in not discussing that with the board. I'd like approval for you. Now that you're the chairman, for $500 to do a staff Christmas party.
So I have a question on the staff Christmas party. I've got 2 questions. Now that you opened it up, I can talk now.
I still got more questions though.
Well, that's okay. This will overcome, I'll answer all those. So the first question I have is, can we spend money on staff? Can we spend food money on staff for a holiday party?
That's at the board's discretion.
Okay,
Yeah, and.
You just need to tell me where the money's
And
coming
and
from.
advertise it as a workshop, so if you can all be here.
If you all plan to attend.
Yeah,
okay,
because that was the issue last year.
that was the issue. Okay, number one.
I didn't sit next to Tom, just for the record.
I didn't
He was gonna steal
want
my-
to sit next to
He's gonna steal my pasta.
How pasta you ate? Number 2. I don't want to happen last year to happen this year. So do you remember what happened last year?
Which one?
It was a holiday party.
The Yankees won?
People got upset?
No, you don't remember? Or you were too busy eating.
I remember.
So why am I asking you?
Oh, that I served food?
So, no, it was funny
Oh.
that Jacinia and Angel, the 2 women, were serving food for everybody. So I think the board members should be serving the food to everybody. Right? I just don't, because it's a staff, it's for the staff.
I'm okay with that, and I'm also okay with last year when we all chipped in $100 a piece with us doing it out of pocket. I'm okay with either way. I would like to do a party though, right?
So can we have a motion to spend $500?
Yeah.
And if there's overage, then the board will go ahead and divide that amount over that.
Okay.
And that motion has to have Tom's gonna be the salad guy.
There will be no salad.
Okay.
Sick of people bringing salads to my house.
I will second that motion.
No one eats the salad.
It's a quality conversation.
All in favor?
Aye. So we need to find a date for that as well.
Yes.
And advertise.
Well, you got,
I'll advertise it as
Yes,
a
'cause I remember
workshop.
last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
well,
I'm sorry?
can we figure that date out now? Because you gotta give 2 weeks notice on the date. So.
It's up to you
Well,
guys.
Let's fill it. I like my
What do you
calendar.
want to do?
I mean, if we're pulling out calendars, can we figure out the rest of these since we're already looking anyway? We're talking about
Sure.
workshops.
Oh, boy. Here we go. We're gonna be here all night.
Tom, you already went 2.5 hours, hour and a half more than supposed to.
Drop out your house. You can't miss it.
You can't, believe me, you can't.
They'll end at a minute before 9, before the extra card.
The energy hasn't been playing.
My Christmas.
All right, so. What days of the week are not good for everyone? Yeah, it's gonna be a lunch.
I would suggest a Friday, because my other week days are kind of slammed.
Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
What is the
Thursday
best
or
day for
Friday?
your staff to do it?
I would say Fridays are probably the best day. It's a little slower
Fridays it is, I
than
guess.
the rest of
Can
it.
everybody make 13th and 20th?
Friday the 13th.
Oh, okay.
Greg would choose that.
Well, it's there. It's in the calendar.
It's in the-
What time?
I think we did noon last time.
Said the 13th.
Yeah, Friday the 13th.
All right, so Friday, December 13th.
That's at 6.
I know.
Yeah.
I do have an all day plan.
I'm sorry, what time you say it was?
The 13th?
all day.
That's so important, my wife said.
What time you say it was?
All right, well. So,
We
wait.
did it at, I think Greg had the food delivered like at 12:30. We did it at 1 maybe.
Well, he
Is
didn't
that
have it delivered. We picked it up.
Whatever,
Oh,
picked
did
it up,
you?
yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We didn't talk to each other when we picked it up, but
I'm sure.
He got one car load, I got the other car load.
for a week.
So again,
So Michelle
open.
can't make the 13th. So what about the 20th?
What?
No,
Yeah,
20th out
no.
of town,
We're on cruise.
Yeah, I
out of
can't.
town on 20th.
I'm out of town as well.
How many people can make the 13th?
Yeah, I can make.
I can figure.
Or we can do the 6th.
I can't do the sixth. Or the
Mm,
12th.
six.
So, you know what, I can't do the sixth.
You just want to do the 12th, which is Thursday?
I can do the 12th or the, I can do the 12th.
I can do the. mm,
You two are gonna have to battle it out over there.
I'm not putting anything on the calendar.
Dave, can you do the 12th?
I cannot do the 12th.
Okay, never mind.
Clock meeting. Can we do it earlier than 1?
13.
All right, go with the 13th.
Go with the
I'll
13th.
I'll figure it out.
Okay, 13th at what time?
Said one.
12:30.
Noon or
1.
Let's do.
One?
There you go.
But
All
I
right,
just,
1 o'clock.
I can do whatever. I just need to advertise it. So
One.
1, okay.
That way you
Alright.
guys can have nap time afterwards. You just-
Yeah, just be done.
There you go.
That day.
Okay. I'll advertise it.
Do we want to look for other workshop dates since we're doing this drill right now or no?
I mean, we can. If everybody's gonna be put on the spot, or do you want a time to look at everything and come back?
That counts, so.
How many workshops do we need?
We need a tree
Um,
workshop.
We did three budget workshops last year. We started in February. We did one in February, March, and April. And then we went into the May meeting and we approved the budget within like 5 minutes. So,
I mean, I think, I don't know, we need to schedule those. I guess we could. I was more worried about the tree one and
the
bond
tree
one.
and bond, yeah, if you want to start with those two, go ahead.
Can we conceivably do a tree and a bond one in the same day? Do we really need- that's a long day. I got
It's
it,
a
but
long day. Are you buying dinner for that day?
Think so.
Think the tree.
I can, I can,
I don't think it's,
Hour and a half,
I don't think the
maybe.
tree would be that long. I
I'll
know the
order.
budget will.
I'll order
How
food.
about January 14th? That's a Tuesday for the tree one.
That's really getting into the budget time, Jack.
January?
We do have budget workshops scheduled for March 11 and April 8. That was advertised for the year. You discussed that last year to advertise those.
Well, there you go.
So we already have those two.
and we can add more as we need to.
Yeah, January 14th, is that when you want to do the bond and tree workshop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds Tuesday, crying out, you know.
What are we gonna do? At 6 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock in the afternoon? What you wanna do?
I prefer doing, if we're gonna do, I prefer 6 o'clock. So like kind of the work day.
You don't have time.
4 o'clock?
I have time.
You can do it slightly early.
I can do 5.
Tuesday.
Good.
5 at the earliest.
All right, so January 14th, bond and tree workshop, Brenda, 5 PM.
Okay. On.
And then you want to do a February workshop? Is that what you wanted to do?
We can talk about it later. What y'all talked about that I think 2, we always say we're gonna do 2 and we end up doing 3 budget workshops just because,
Well,
so,
we have them March 11th and the April 8th workshops.
yep. And then you approve it in May. So if 2 workshops are good, then I'm fine with that.
Okay.
And I think,
I think what comes out of this.
I think the bond discussion is
Right,
gonna drive a lot of that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're good then?
All right, is that motion to adjourn or no?
No.
I still got more questions. Raise my hand.
You got somebody
We
online?
got one more question, buddy.
No, I'm
Well,
making,
make it a good
Yeah,
one.
we got some 4-person waiting.
we did do staff recognition last time. I would like to do that by the December meeting. What last year we done was it 500 for Franklin? I thought we did that in the December meeting.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
I would like to,
we did.
if you want to nominate somebody again, I know you guys have matched or whatever, but I would like to. You guys chew on that.
So December, which is recognition,
Yeah.
okay, we'll choose somebody that we've got
And if. maybe
good
we
feedback
can-
on.
And if they're gonna be here, we can have that
It's the first thing up.
first thing.
Well, why don't you do that
What are we
at,
doing at the luncheon?
at your luncheon?
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
Gosh. Thanks, Jack, for that idea.
Okay, and that's 500.
I would, that was what we did for Franklin.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
did, and I think you guys decided to match.
Is that
We
what we're
matched
doing? Is
$500.
$100 each for that?
What was that?
Did the board, did we?
No,
No.
the district.
The
did that.
district did,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
So do we need to vote on that or we okay to do that?
No,
Okay.
you're fine with that unless somebody opposes, then,
Okay.
okay.
And the last thing, maybe. I did have Angel send out I got a request from the principal over at Island Village, K5 the other day about a turning lane, so it's almost the same thing that Dave's been working on with Celebration Boulevard and World Drive, where we would have to give up. As you're going into Island Village, the right-hand side, right at the stop sign, the principal was requesting, he's starting to get a lot of backup. And it's blocking traffic on Celebration Avenue going into Island Village. He's requesting that, and I don't know exactly how much, but to be able to, that we would give up some of the sidewalk area and I guess shift it to the county so that they can put in the turning lane.
I don't have a problem with it. I would just would like the principal to work with the school district to work with the county.
Come up with a proposal.
To come up with all the proposal,
Right.
and they say, what do you think? We're good, and then they go on their way.
And my suggestion was gonna be throwing Dave, because he did this spectacularly with the high school one, of however that magic needs to happen. So the principal approached me, so I'm fine to go back and tell him, go talk to your staff, and we'll talk to the county and talk to us
Well,
formally.
I guess my question is, do we want the
Yeah.
CCD to drive it? Why doesn't
The school
why doesn't the
drive.
district
Yeah,
just pick up the
schools
phone
are-
and call the county?
Well, and the same reason that we drove the one on Celebration Boulevard, that Dave's the one, as I'm looking through the email threads,
But
he's
there
driving
was
right
this
now,
whole-
because nobody's doing
No,
it.
but that was the community coming up and saying, we really need this, and we drove that.
That
This
was-
is the school district.
That was Chris Todd coming up from the high school saying you screwed up my traffic at the high
Oh, I don't
school.
know. I saw the thousands of posts that
Oh.
people say we need a right turn lane.
Yeah.
That was my thing. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, the
But-
school needs to
Yeah.
drive that.
And that's fine. I'm happy to respond to him and say, hey, please talk. I
Yeah,
just,
and.
I want to make sure we were okay with.
No, I'm
engaging
okay
it,
with
yeah.
doing any of that stuff. They can really, because all we're doing is, let's move this around and it helps
Yeah.
them. That's not a big deal, but they
They have to. be
have the
driving it.
contacts to call the county. And then I'd be happy with that.
I will respond back with that then. Yep.
All those areas.
That's all I have for now, so I'll think of something else.
For now?
No, you're done. All right, supervisor comments?
We already did it.
They already did
Are
it.
you sure?
Oh, I got it.
You're done. Public comment period. A gentleman that's been waiting patiently online, so now's your chance, and you might be on mute.
Thank you very much. My name is Absalon. I'm located, representing right now Zion Homes. We've been in a lot of CDD's meetings, and we've been helping homeowners because of the storm and many other situations at the home. So what we do is,
Are you a homeowner, or are you just a separate company that can help?
no, well, I am a homeowner, but not in this district. What I do right now, why I'm representing, and I'm introducing ourselves, it's because I'm introducing the company that is consulting homeowners and also 501c3s, which is nonprofit organizations as well. We're located in Hillsborough County. And the name of our company is Zion Homes. Most of the people right now, homeowners, they don't want to claim, or because of the insurance. And what I suggest to a lot of those homeowners is to hire their own public adjuster. Not just wait until the insurance respond at the end, because the insurance is going to send their own public adjuster to take, pictures and proof of the situation happening in the property. But a lot of homeowners, they just keep that answer, or they just keep the check and they believe it. The point is that the homeowner also, they can hire their own public adjuster on their side. They don't have to pay anything. And in the state of Florida, it's 10% whatever they get to all of them. So this is also a plus for the homeowners, because a lot of homeowners, the check that the insurance has been given, it can be between 600 or 1,000 or 2,000, whatever. And the public adjuster, they can get back between $10,000 to $35,000, depending on the property and depending on the damages. So that is something that a lot of homeowners, they need to know. But what we do is we do removal, like all the all the subject that you guys were talking about, the situations about many homeowners, the tree removal and all that. So we do roofing installation, we do windows and doors as well.
Yeah,
And
I think I mean, I don't know how it applies to the district, it probably applies maybe more to the homeowner association or to individual homeowners. Cause.
and also
What you guys do-
501(c)(3)s
what
as
you
well.
guys do really don't
Non-profit
interact with the
organizations also.
district.
I'm sorry?
I don't think what you do really interacts with what we do in the district. I
We
think-
do also energy efficiency for homeowners and
Correct, yeah, but we don't deal directly with homeowners for how they take care of their property or any of that. That'd be more either homeowner association or individual homeowners. We wouldn't get involved.
Yeah,
in anything
you'd
like
be
that.
better served making a pitch to Pro and not the CCD.
Yeah, because we're more infrastructure than anything else.
no, I understand, which is fine. The point is that as long as the CDDs, they know us already, because a lot of HOAs, they don't allow companies from the outside as a vendors. So
Yeah, but that's, you'd have to work with the HOA. We have nothing to
They
do
have
with
no
that.
restrictions on
Yeah,
that.
we
Yeah.
can't handle private property at all.
Yeah, we can't make recommendations for anything like that. That would have to be the HOA.
okay. Thank you anyway. Again, we're located in Hillsborough County. The name of our company is Zion Homes. And my name is Absalon. And thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Motion to return.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have one more quick. one more.
Oh, you.
Boy, I tell you.
Oh, my God.
Did you second that till we get out of here?
I'll say.
Thank you. We're out of here.
Picture of my car, you know, that's so.